good morning. It's actually quite the ungodly hour for this morning. But you know what? Woke up sounding early. Felt like getting the day started early, so let's do this thing. So, it's been a hot minute since the last one of these that we did. Finally in the post-surgery era, feeling a good bit better. Good to have my hand back now. I mean, like, it's still janky every now and then, but it's a hell of a lot better. So, what happened since last time? And why on earth are we back on the map? And why have we not actually gone into the Phydock yet? Well, I guess more accurately, why have we not gone Prime yet? Well, the long and short of it is, my previous hard save was before Rhyme. Basically, I expected this at the time. Which, by the way, enjoyable little janky stick situation still going on with this Vita, because we are recording off of Vita today. So my last hard save was way back here, and you may notice we're a little bit farther along than last time. See, the thing was, I figured I was out of commission anyway. I might as well very slowly try to grind up stat cards and things, as well as grab a couple things to make things a little bit easier. Now, basically up till this point, as you can see, still keeping with the no Chariot rule. Ended up using the no retreat thing, or ended up using the retreat function a few times to grind for a item in particular, and we're at this point we're up to almost 4,200 kills on our just absolute mountain of disaster to try to make this run happen. So I've gone ahead and gotten everyone's stats up. At the end of last time, we were looking at like low 40s at best. So now at this point, he's running like up to 60 and 54 here for strength and dex. For items, I went ahead and got a whole bunch of food items. Now, originally when I was going through and grinding for those, I figured, okay, we'll use some of these for stats. We can do that later. Actually, at this point, their general hitting power is good enough that we can definitely do that safely. However, I ended up sticking with 15 of these ones that aren't super useful here, in order to make sure to have that 50 TP charge, which is just going to be getting us through this little hiccup that we ran into. So if you remember last time, we went into the castle, we got past the first castle fight, got into the second one, and basically hit a brick wall, because it was a situation where despite the fact that we got really far in that thing, we weren't making a whole lot of progress on actually being able to take out the TK boss there, and that's simply because he's got a good bit more durability than most. So the thing was that, yeah, Denim was the only one that could realistically do damage, and even then it would take him about 2 finishers to be able to actually finish somebody off there. That said, since last time, a few little things changed on him. For one thing, he is maxed out on almost everything, resistance skill-wise. He's actually... hell, this thing went on so long I actually got him up to rank 2, almost rank 3 for steel as well. There is a particular reason for that later. We'll get to it. It was also just something to make the grind a little bit less boring, but I've gone through and pretty much everybody on the team is at least close to, if not maxed out. Many of them are rogues at this point. If you missed it before, the way that you get rogues this early is you actually go to Farampa, you go to, show you. I apologize for the janky stick. It'll stop doing that at some point. So if we head down to Farampa here, it's basically, you go to this map right here. There is I would say about 30-40% chance of a rogue. There's 3 rogues, I believe, that can spawn on this map. 2 of them are right in front of you in easy bow range, so all you do is just, you run up, you snipe them, you make sure they drop the bag, and you retreat at that point. So easy peasy. So the build that we're going to be going with for pretty much everybody here is going to be these scoped crossbows, as I like to call it. The daggers are actually still pretty incredibly useful at this point. But yeah, the crossbow kill move is just too good. So yeah, we're gonna be going through as was expected last time. Anyone still with a bow will just use a bow. There are going to be some cases where they're going to be necessary, so we're going to leave them on there. Not everybody on the team got the full level of treatment. Like right here, this guy is still low 30s, as is she. But I went ahead and got most of the team up here. Some of them actually reached 40, and that's kind of nice. They have a little bit of a mix of stats across the board, but really what I needed was one guy to do a whole lot of powerful hitting. And basically what I needed was for him to be able to one-shot that boss that we could not do more than 1 damage to. And that's the beautiful thing about the bizarre damage scaling of this game. Because for anyone that didn't know, it's essentially like a floodgate. Here, let's go ahead over here. Like, after you pass a certain threshold and you get all of your bonuses and everything else, it's just kind of ridiculous. Because that guy in particular has, I think it was like 240 health or something. So when he did his finisher before, he was basically seeing 1 damage. So what they needed to do was they needed a Death Whale. So you automatically get a flat attack bonus added to it. So with Death Whale, strength, and everything else, he could do like 15 damage. Everybody else could do maybe 6 or 7. After this very small grind, well, I say very small. It took me quite a while because we're basically going through this thing one-handed. But after the grind here, you'll see. Because he's in one-shot territory now. It's a funny little thing how that works. Alright, so I'll just go with this team right here. That's perfectly fine. I need to remember to set those 3 off of AI, because for a little while I just set a few of them to AI to run around and harass stuff on Tynemouth. If you're wondering, yeah, how you get so many stat cards and whatever else, just Tynemouth. I mean, it's pretty much been the old tried and true since forever. Alright. So we need to do a few things here. First things first, we're going to need to get some of these abilities going right away. So Lion Dance, get his strengthen up. And what we want is for his stats to be boosted, we're going to want a second rogue to run up and drop a breach on Vice. Meanwhile, my phone's alarm will start going off, apparently. So he's going to go up here. He basically wants to get attacked by Vice and wants to get attacked by an archer if possible. The idea is just for him to build up as much TP as he can. He might have to use a second turn using a food item. We'll see. But then as soon as we can get to the point that he's able to use his stuff there, we're good to go. Didn't mean to zoom out there exactly. You may notice I'm still a decent bit slower than I was before. I'm getting back to it. Bear with me. The old man cripple here is gonna get us figure out how his hands work again. But alright. So these guys are already buffed. I need to make sure that he's going all fast-like over here. Get that celerity going. Actually, come to think of it, what would make this a lot easier to see? Can I make this screen any larger is the question. So if I do one of these, there we go. That's an acceptably large situation there. Sorry, I'm basically trying to play this using the playback window on the computer here. I'm trying to figure out why exactly I can't make this window larger. It's kind of like playing it while looking at it from far away. Because before, what I would do is I would sit here and I would just be looking at the Vita itself, which works just fine, except if anything ends up cutting out, well, that's a little bit of an annoyance. Sorry. Whatever, we'll just do it this way. So a lot of these guys are going to put on Benumb. This is primarily for wasting time. We're going to get Benumb and Bridle. Especially I want these ones in the back here. Specifically Veil to have some of those. The short bows going forward are mostly going to be used for that kind of shenanigans. So we'll do that as we do. Alright, so here, going forward, let's go ahead and put that speed on a few more people. Because yeah, strengthen on Denim, breach on Vice, and then just get the finisher on him. And simple enough. That would do the trick. A few of these buffs are going to end up going nowhere, because they're just going to end up getting double shot by archers, and that is going to be the end of their happy little survival situation. Unfortunately. But we'll deal with it as we do. But mostly, I just wanted to get this run to the point where we're past Chapter 4. Because or rather, at least up to Chapter 4 today, ideally. I'll see exactly how that pans out. I do have to go get to work in a few hours, but you know what? Had a little bit of an opening here. I knew that this particular part, especially these three fights right here, were doable, so we'll do that. And unfortunately, Vice does not look like he's going to cooperate. So he's decided he doesn't want to attack. Probably should have done... there goes Cashwa. Probably should have done one tile closer, if we're honest. But that's fine. That is perfectly fine. And drop some heals here. And yeah, most heals are just going to be for the purpose of buying time, as you'd expect. It's funny. Yesterday, I was actually expecting to do a bit of a One Vision thing last night, but wound up kind of adjusting how my time went. That all being said, that can actually hit. Yeah, that can actually hit him. As you can see, the blowgun actually does more damage than the crossbow for basic attacks, which is kind of funny. Let's see. Should be able to put some hurt on these guys. With any luck, we should be able to push them backwards a little bit, because I'd like to see that knight trying to heal them in the back here. As the ideal is to get them as far away from Vice as possible. That shot... Alright, that's fine. He just needs to heal anyway. So... It's funny because, yeah, I was planning to do this last night, was sitting and waiting to try to figure out what my schedule would look like exactly. I was like sitting waiting for my work schedule to come in more or less. And yeah, so ended up spending that time getting all the Felseal portraits in. And while I didn't get absolutely every single one that I wanted to in there, I am glad to say that at least most of the classes from Tactics Ogre, FFT, as well as a few other little joke things. Oh yeah, from Knight of Lotus as well. As well as a few others actually managed to make it in there. So that should be fun when we get to it. Good morning there, Mr. Cow. How's stuff? Hope it's improving a little bit. Hope you're having an at least acceptable day. Alright. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and speed this one up, I think. Get them going at least slightly. Yeah, this is definitely way more jank than it was in testing, so see how that works out. If we could crit her back, I don't think she's got to... Yeah, she doesn't have steadfast. All these guys should have at least a 10% chance to crit, if not better. You may be wondering why on earth got such a bizarre layout as far as loadouts go, and yeah, there we go. There goes the video again, as it does. This is specifically why I wanted to play this using the screen. And there we go. Now we're back. Thank you, technology, for being all technological. Yeah, I think I'm thinking probably down the line whenever things start going normally again. I'm gonna go and switch back to using the old emulator, just for a smoother experience. As the other day actually went pretty well as far as seeing whether my my now fixed hand can handle a controller for extended periods of time. It was a little bit iffy afterwards, but for the most part, yeah, I would say it was a success. So yeah, I'm sure this pretty much only makes sense to folks that had carpal tunnel before, but yeah, it's like, imagine, okay, so you know how you have that feeling after you've laid on top of your arm on accident during the night? Now, say that got improved to the point that it's only like the palm of your hand that's affected under certain circumstances after a little while. So like every day feels a little bit different. So that's kind of where that is at the moment. Not ideal, but a little better. It's an interesting feeling. And yeah, this whole wandering stick situation is definitely at least part of it. Which, as of yet, I haven't reinstalled the mod that actually fixes that. I really should. I guess it's technically a plugin, not a mod, but whatever. Details, details. And yeah, we're at the point that we can even dodge archers at this point. It's pretty nice. It's like, it's weird how just a very, 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 very slight difference in points can do that. Right, I'm gonna need Frisk here, getting some of that stun on her bow, ideally. Actually, yeah, let's do Benum. Sounds like a winner. It is WinRAR. That night guy can stay there. Yeah, he's only got 45 at this point. He needs 100. Come on, crit it. That would have been nice. Yeah, if he ended up critting that one, we'd be in a really good spot. This part of the problem right now is I'm going to have to sacrifice 1 unit to get Vice into Breach status. So we'll see how that plays out exactly. Go ahead and stun this one. Yeah, I'm gonna have to sacrifice 1 unit to get them into Breach status, then hopefully have enough points with Denim to just run up and take the shot. But this works out well enough. Their cleric is a little bit distracted at the moment. Let's see if we can drop a brimstone to at least whittle his down health slightly. Whittle his down health slightly. Wow, I'm very awake this morning. You can tell what time it is. But it was weird. This morning I woke up early because, I mean, normally I'm used to waking up at 4 in the morning and all that. And ended up going to sleep early because I was expecting, well, I mean, I have an early work day today, so we'll deal with that when it comes. But I don't know. It's kind of weird. Apparently the part with the brain, with the thinks and the talking, hasn't quite turned on yet. It's alright. We'll get there. We shall get there. Alright, so we have an interesting situation here. So, what I'd expect Vice to do, probably to move right there. Actually, wait a minute. Wait a dang minute. Yeah, he's actually almost got enough points. Out of curiosity. I was gonna say, if we can hit him enough times, maybe we could just get him to his 100 TP right now. But that's looking pretty unlikely. But what I can do is throw some liquor at this guy. Give him breached. Looking all right there. Alright, you go ahead and silence the archer over here. It typically won't do very much. That's fine. So I'm thinking blowgun there, takes her out, suddenly they don't have a backup healing element. We'll go over here, and yes, I know that obviously they're only doing 40. It's not going to be the thing that makes a difference. However, in this particular case, we can throw out enough damage to keep their other healer busy. We should be able to take this guy out in one shot as long as things work out properly. That right there is not stuff working out properly. See, the problem is we need to drop a strength on him, and right now that guy decided to put himself directly in the way. We need to be within 2 tiles in order to be able to make the buff work. What a douche. Alright, so let's see if he can stun Aerosol from here. Yeah, looks like he can make the shot. Not the best odds in the world, but it'll work. I was promising a bit of a explanation as to what happened since last time, ages ago, wasn't I? Well, part of the reason that we got stuck is yeah, there's just certain situations where we can't really do much damage to stuff on account of the hold being low. One thing. That all being said, oh shoot, apparently we're astoundingly slow because that one guy still hasn't gotten his turn yet. I completely lost my train of thought on that one. You know what? Ignore the rambling old man that's half asleep trying to do challenge runs at a weird hour. It happens. Alright, 2% dodge, no 2% dodge. That's fine. That's fine, he did his job. Now, what can we actually do here? So what I can do is throw out a heal towards you. That's really annoying if he's going to wind up with exactly 98 TP. Hopefully he gets that 100. I mean, Breach in this particular situation should overwrite any issues that we're having. And I believe there's nothing rampart-wise in the way, so he should be able to get in a position of fire. We'll see. He's got exactly 100. That's all this one ever needs. Doesn't really scale so much. Yeah, 65. So this will do the trick. So all he needs is that Breach, and it'll do more than the Strengthen in this case. So that'll one-shot Vice, as you do. He's got no hope of prevailing against the one guy, you know. And then sweet sound effects happen. What? What was that? It's plot happening, sir. It's plot and war crimes. Don't you just hate when you're interrupted by flashes of plot and war crimes? Yeah, and then they showed up and killed everybody. Yes, so despite the fact that in most cases the player's party, if they managed to beat this fight, would be in pretty okay shape, they decide, you know what, it's time to go assassinate our leader instead of bothering to fight with this nonsense. Let's go do a power grab. Alright. So, due to everything, I feel confident in going over and making sure that we save over this one this time. So, there's a bit of a secondary goal of sorts. That's what we're going to do right now. So, essentially, instead of crossbows for a lot of these characters, we're gonna run short bows all of a sudden. You might be thinking, hey, that's your damage gone. You need the damage for stuff. Yes, however, there's essentially one thing that we're going to need to make this run still possible. Like I mentioned before, we are in a position where any other, literally any other route would have been far easier. Because I originally routed this for neutral, because I always try to route everything for neutral, because I friggin' love neutral. But yeah, that would have been the most ideal one, because you get a whole bunch of characters that just join you with a bunch of skills, which you can then scavenge onto these guys. Mr. Cow, for the sake of reference, when I'm referring to scavenging, imagine the FFT crystal mechanic, except, like, if one of your characters dies, you just basically get them as, well, they're just passed out in your character sheet, or your character list. And so you have the means to just go and transfer all of their skills and accumulated weapon experience and things like that onto another character. So, in this particular case, yeah, that would have been the ideal way to do it. Now, That all said, we ran into a little bit of a hiccup, because the only one that could be reasonably hired was basically impossible to hire on this particular route. The only guy that you get up to this point is going to be Zapan. I mean, barring some other characters, you can get Canopus, but I decided to ban him for this run, which, you know, my bad on that one. And he still just comes in with a few extra weapon ranks. It wouldn't be anything too mind-blowing for the purposes of this one. It would just be the ability to fly, which would be incredibly helpful in a lot of cases, but oh well. You wouldn't get Sistina yet. You only get access to Zapan. Now, the problem is he comes in with a map where he is completely surrounded. He can barely survive a few rounds, and almost all of the team actually had to lose a life in order to be able to even get through that fight at all, let alone saving the guy. He's the only access that I have to any kind of skills, aside from all the level 1 skills that you would normally have. Which is, as you might guess, a little bit of a downside. So, you know, not ideal there, but oh well, what can you do? Also, by the way, I picked up a whole bunch of Wheel of Fortune cards. We're going to make use of a bunch of them here. I'd like to see at least 4 characters that can teleport. Which, by the way, compared to FFT, instead of something like hover boots or whatever else, you would essentially use cards for the early game. They give you limited use hovers and teleports and things like that. Later on in the game, you do get those same kinds of hover boots and things that just give you this kind of stuff as much as you need them. So right now, I have 40 plus of these things, and we're okay on that front. The only other use they have is to use as traps, and quite frankly, not only is I believe there's not actually a way for me to get traps on this particular run, it is a completely worthless skill in the vanilla game. And I do mean completely worthless. There's nothing the traps are good for. Might be thinking, hey, what about that one? No. There is no situation that you'd ever want to use traps in this game. It's not worth it at all. Alright, we're going to put Bridle on 3 of them. We're going to put Stun on 2 of them. The way that I'm planning to have this go, these guys all go up. Whoever survives this first round is going to be, well, they're going to be unleashing hell here. What we need, the only way for us to get skills for quite a while, since otherwise we need to recruit a character, is going to be for us to take out the 2 warlocks there in the back. Or the Witcher and the Warlock, I should say. That seems a little bit weird, but yeah, if you remember from last time, months ago, there's 2 ways that we can actually get a hold of skills. One of them is to scavenge them from, well, essentially to recruit a character and scavenge them that way. Another one is to have a plot character that we can scavenge. However, when it comes to recruit skills, most of them are not something we can get, and recruit skills are not something that any character you can hire comes with. Meaning, the only way to get them is if they're already available at level 1, and there's only 3 of them that actually are available. And even then, we're getting into even more gloriously, oddly specific territory, and that's what I love about this run. The fact that there's just so many bizarre mechanics that never get to be used. Like, for example, using blowguns and things like that. You wouldn't use blowguns over crossbows, or just use a blowgun as a scope for your crossbow at any point. Like, who the hell does that? And it makes sense in this run, so, you know, fun times. But anyhow, what I was getting at here. So essentially, we need to take out those 2, because part of the interesting design of this game is the fact that every time you run into a class for the very first time, there is a very, very high chance that they're... Oh, well, they just got 8. There's a very high chance that they're going to drop their class marks. So unlike... for Mr. Cow, if you're still here in this game, instead of unlocking a class through job trees and things like that, essentially you unlock a class by unlocking its class mark, which is basically a license. So we want our people to be licensed to be warlocks, so that they can speak to golems. So yeah, because stuff wasn't oddly specific enough, what we want is for our dudes here, which we're going to go ahead and get teleport here to get past this wall of dragons. What we want is to get those warlocks in order to get access to Golemy, which will then allow us to recruit golems, which will then allow us to had to sacrifice some of those golems in order to get access to Strengthen, which... And by the way, I plan to actually make a video on this at some point in terms of the fact that pretty much everything from FFT is in this game in just a different form. It's like, imagine if you had Attack Plus, right? Like, you just had your just attack bonus skill. Imagine if you could stack that crap 4 times. That's what Strengthen is in this game. Actually, imagine if you could stack it, like, 5 times and then arguably 6. Because basically... what we're abusing for this one is this weird loop where you get a flat attack bonus. So attack bonus is like is basically like armor piercing for the purposes of this game. So you get a flat attack bonus that scales off of dexterity and strength applied to one of the finishing moves, with the fact that you can stack Strengthen multiple times, with the fact that you can get anatomy on everyone, which is effectively like every human-based interaction, which is going to be all your human characters essentially. So all your damage versus humans, which is most of the characters in the game, as well as your defense as a human character against everything else in the game, will essentially create a situation where it gives them about a 40% defense boost, and against people, a 40% attack boost, give or take. It's like 36, but whatever, 36 to 40, depending on the circumstances, is the best way to put that. And then combine that eventually with the with elemental augments and things like that. Just you can do a lot of shenanigans, but yeah, we'll get to that when we get to it. Sorry, now what we want is for these characters to be warping as fast as they can off to the back here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start throwing out a little bit of hastes here. Thankfully, some 1000 IQ genius decided that every character needed to have access to every skill that you have a book for. So you just keep rebuying that skill, and in a level 1 run, this ends up working out perfectly fine because of the fact that we can't really buy equipment, so we're absolutely stacked for cash. I mean, you may have noticed we only had like 10 grand in there. Oh, that doesn't matter. We've got about 99 of every item from the start of the game, so that's fine. You can literally just go sell like 100 bucklers, and we're fine for the next few chapters. It's so good. I love the cheesy crap you can do in this game. Like, granted, the vanilla game is very bizarrely balanced. There's so many things that just don't make any sense in terms of who thought that this was okay to get past testing, but you know what? I absolutely adore it. There's just something very nice about it. And it's interesting because way back when I actually used to say quite a bit that this game was one of those ones that I kind of love to hate to challenge run, because there's so many exceptions to every rule and just so many weird things that can happen. And thinking back on it now, you know what? There's just so many mechanics that it's kind of a joy to challenge run, because yeah, a lot of things can potentially break, but at the same time, like break in terms of just stuff will stop working. Like thinking back on one of my least favorite ones there, was this one that was a spear only run. To give you an idea on why that's a challenge exactly, it basically means that the mechanics of the game just fold itself in a neat little box around you as the game progresses. So early on, well, in total that means all of your characters, because for most of them I like to run generic only. So this means in the grand total of the game, there's only 2 classes that are available. And on top of that, of those 2 classes, one of them is only available about 3/4 of the way through the story. On top of that, there's the fact that that first class will end up hitting level 30, which means the entire game ends up scaling up around you. Meaning that, functionally speaking, unless you've got everyone's weapon skills up, they can't really do damage in a lot of situations. So yeah, it's like a weird confluence of stuff that comes together right in the middle of one of the siege battles. Which, granted, yes, by definition it's not the siege, just... It's fine, it's fine. Anyway, by definition, it's more of an assault, but again, friggin' details at this point. Anyway, so point being, there's a castle fight, stuff gets all janky right in the middle of that. Yeah. But yeah, thinking back on it, it's still doable. Like, despite the fact that by all rights it shouldn't be. Come on, crit. No crit. Alright, so all I need here is one of these to drop a bag. So either the Warlock there or this Witch that I'm aiming at. Nice dodge. Okay. And Cerebro coming in for the finish, hopefully. Alright, come on, credit. Nice. Okay. Bag? Yes. Okay, we got bag. That is almost guaranteed to be the thing we need. All we need is 100 points on Denim at this point. They should focus on everybody but him. So we're going to go ahead and throw out a Treatise of Courage here, get everybody boosted up. To both increase how the AI views them, and hopefully... I was hoping that would roll a 110. It's like right now they're in a... Even though it may occasionally look like it's giving them their max damage in the damage prediction, the prediction doesn't actually cap off at their max health, only the damage shown when once they actually start the attack does. So basically, if it says that they've got 111 health left, the prediction says they'll do 111. What that really means, it's like 109 to 115 or so. Or actually, no, it would be like 107 to 115 or so. It's like 4 down, 5 up, something like that. Do I have any good shots on this guy, actually? Do you has bow? You do has bow. And he's quite a few points away from doing anything, so you know what? Actually, just whatever, snipe this guy. It's not bad damage. Old Man Wizard just took a guy out with a shield. Wow. But I guess he can't really do damage, can he? Whatever. Anyway, I probably should be going and reviving some characters. I just want to re-up Silence on him. And actually, did this just work out perfectly? Very well might have. So we've got a Death Whale right here. Yep, that's a win. That's a win. So if we get the Magus Marks, then we're good. I didn't have a time to check what's actually in that bag. And it's funny because depending on what route you're on, you'll actually get different characters here. So this guy refuses to see what's going on. Dude's all stubborn. In one of the routes, you can fight both of them. However, in this particular case, like, I forget exactly how all these old casters go, but in one of the fights, you can fight Modigliani and his wife. In this case, we just got Modigliani. He's all stubborn, refuses to see what's going on. His wife, once she gets sniped, she's like, oh crap, yeah, we're totally on the wrong side here. but yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Come on, and no Magus Marks. All right, we got to redo that one real quick then. That sucks. Load. One of the reasons that I hate loading, though, is because it makes this situation where there's potentially... there's a potential for getting all excited as soon as the fight's done and, well, just going and loading it instead of actually saving it. I've done that on more than one occasion. But either way, same fight, we just gotta get them to drop those marks. I know it doesn't seem necessary. I know this seems like a friggin' detail on details. Trust me, it is completely necessary. Because after we get to this point, we'll have access to a couple of maps that have golems on them. But that's the thing. That's all we have. That's all we can do for a very long time. From here, we basically do the Hannibal route. Again, for those unfamiliar, basically, we're going down the law route for whatever dumb reason. Again, I should have gone neutral. Chaos would have been fine. Both of them would have given me characters I can use to get into other stuff by now, but no, gotta just reroute at the last second, go for law, have no characters I can use for skills. Anyway, stupid decisions aside, basically, Chapter 3 involves going and pulling a Hannibal, so you're basically going around the west coast of the island, going through some icy mountains to go take out Hector and his whole army and whatever else. Meanwhile, he's trying to defect, but is really bad at acting. So, through all of that whole situation, we're at a place where our next few stops are essentially going to be versus a boss that has really, really, really high vitality by comparison. So that basically means, once again, we're in a position where we've got a knight with high fit. They are not going to be taking a whole lot of damage from anything. So once again, we got to figure out a way to break past all their stuff. So the ideal here is to get Strength in 1 at the very least, if not Strength in 2 by then. Getting Strength in 2, fairly unlikely, however. So we're just going to probably have to deal with Strength in 1, possibly replace some of the weapon skills with Fortify 1. Because that's the main reason I've got weapon skills on everybody, to more or less function the same way, where if they get hit by certain things, instead of being an insta-kill, it's an almost kill. So just having 1 rank of Fortify would essentially replace, like, friggin' a dozen skills. So, you know, there's that. So we'll deal with that as we do. At the moment, the goal is just to just get these Magus Marks, so that we can get golems, so we can recruit them, so we can get skills, so that we can make it past Chapter 3. It's funny because, yeah, I repeatedly keep kicking myself for just creating this whole situation for no reason. At the same time, I'm kind of glad that it happened, because it just proves that even under the worst circumstances, there is still options in this game. Like, this is something... It should be a brick wall. It should be an absolute brick wall, and that's what it was last time. But even then, due to an absolute accident where I accidentally overwrote my save, wound up with a situation where we could go back and essentially get a few more stat points on a few characters in order to get their stats up just slightly high enough to be able to do a bit more respectable damage for this part of the game. So we can't, like, dragons and things like that up there, we can't even touch those. So originally, that's why I was going through the neutral route, because there's one map in particular that's just, oops, all dragons. That's literally all it is. So obviously that's not going to fly. It's not really gonna help us out very much. There is still a way to get through it, but yeah, again, we need strengthen, we need draconology. Because we're going law route, we're eventually going to get access to Yunin, which means that we can get access to draconology and also get access to Dragon Slayer, which also means that, yeah, we can essentially have him one-shot dragons at level 1, which is just great. But anyway, utter cheese aside, let's see here. I think so last time we didn't even really need to make use of his OP stuff, so I think what we're going to do this time... I'm just going to go ahead and have him chow down on a minced patty over here. Crunch that mess. Get them TPs going. It's actually funny because you can use food items for so many things, including creating a situation where you basically just run up, scarf down some meat, and rob somebody. Not exactly the most efficient use of, well, everything. But it's there. Oh my goodness, what are the odds of that? Okay, so, that never happens, but that's fine. We can still make this work. For those that just joined, we're actually on our second run of this. The first time we got through just fine, however, the bag that dropped did not contain the items that we needed, so we're doing this again. So we're getting Mr. Master of the Impossible up again. Alright. These guys are still on their feet, they're not teleporting around. Definitely gonna have a bit of a harder time this time, but oh well. Because the ideal would still be for him to drop a finisher on somebody. Oh well. And for anyone that's ever been curious as to why on earth you get hover and teleport before you get the ability to fly, that's why you're basically limited to Canopus and any Hawkmen that you can potentially recruit up until, well, basically up until at least Chapter 3 best case scenario, if you know what you're looking for. But more than likely up until Palace of the Dead. Well, that reason is because Flight can overcome Rampart Aura, which is going to be one of your big hindrances throughout the entire run here. So as you've seen, these guys can't actually teleport through these guys on the right here. So despite the fact that they can essentially warp around walls and whatever else, these guys are staring at them intimidatingly enough that they actually can't figure out how to get past. You know, figure the logic as you will, but that's kind of what's going on there. Because that question's come up on more than one occasion as to why on earth teleport is broken. It doesn't seem to get past units anymore. They ruined it. Yeah, rampant aura. That's all it is. Alright, so we've got a stun thing here. Let's go ahead and... What do I want to stun? I want to stun this dragon. Cute. And actually, looking back on it, I kind of think using ninja abilities on the basic blow dart is actually way better than the actual specialized blow darts, looking at it down the line. So the most sensible thing, especially given the luck bonuses and things like that you get off them, I feel like the most sensible thing if you wanted an optimized blow dart build would just be essentially to always go with the stone dart and then just keep these two abilities around for whenever you need the other stuff. So you could potentially do like a stun stone or silent stone or something like that. Potentially devastating, but anywho. I guess charm stone also works, although I'd imagine it under most circumstances you'd have charm wearing off before stone did. Not that that would apply for this run, because that dart isn't even usable, but hey, what can you do? Alright. So, as before, the plan is to drop everything on that witch as soon as possible. We're probably going to have to take the long route around here. By the way, out of curiosity, I should have asked this sooner, and apologize for that, but how's the sound? Is the music coming through? Is everything coming through? Is that all fine and dandy? Definitely should have asked that sooner. Tasty coffee. Okay. So the way that I'm seeing this happening, more than likely Evan is going to be the one to snipe the witch. We're going to have a few characters going down, we're going to have a few characters in a revive loop. I really wish that would have just missed instead of critting. Oh well, what can you do? Get them back on their feet. Now, usually you don't want to get somebody that's just been knocked out back on their feet. In this case, they're only functioning as a decoy anyway. Alright, he's going to get close, he's going to do that whole thing. We didn't get the silence off on him, since he's one of the very few caster bosses that can actually have that. I believe our silence guy got taken out, so that's fine. That's still workable. Oh, and fine, there goes Evan. Yeah, this one might be a complete wash, to be honest. But that's okay, let's try to make this work. Try to pop this guy for his stun. Oh yeah, there we go. Got the silence on the big guy. Definitely would have been handy earlier, but whatever. Details, details. And yeah, they're gonna get that get the nectar on him right away, so that's not gonna help. Yeah, sweet Jesus, the the RNG this time is unforgiving. 27% chance to hit, crits instead. Yeah, I think we're probably gonna have to redo this one real quick. That's fine. Dang, Magus Marks. And yeah, in the opportunity that there's a means to do so, the one, like, them dropping a bag is all I can really guarantee under the rules of this run. So I can't go back and, you know, redo what the bag is exactly. But I can at least guarantee that they drop one. Yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and restart that one real quick. Really bad RNG on that one. But thankfully, once we're past this, we don't have to worry about RNG anymore. But you can definitely see how much easier it is than last time. Like, we're not at the point that we're getting absolutely one-shot by absolutely everything on the map, and we're actually able to go take out the units in the back to try to get their Magus Marks. So there's options now. there's means of doing things. And thankfully, because they're starting to work their way into the Boulder tier, their weight is going up significantly, while ours is staying the same. The casters are going to be noticeably faster. The archers are going to be doing something similar here. So yeah, they're up to Magus. The dragons and things like that are going to be pretty fast. These guys are up to Boulder. So yeah, they're going up there in terms of weight. Especially, it's actually funny how this guy's build goes. He's actually holding on to this extra blow dart for luck. It's funny. Never noticed that they had a double blow dart build. There's some weird stuff in vanilla. I love this game. Like even with vanilla's tendency here to kind of have a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense in the game, I will always love this game. It's just everything about it, even the completely busted stuff, you know. Like, I definitely give it some crap for just so many things that are completely unnecessary, but this is still... It's like this and Armored Core 3 are just tied for favorite game ever. It's just like right down the middle. And I know I don't stream as much Armored Core lately, which, again, the hand thing, once that recovers, I do plan to finally, hopefully, win that Blenderizer, but... we'll get there when we get there. All things in time and all that. So, if this goes anything like last time, we're going to go a different route. We're going to go a little bit more aggressive. Instead of teleports, I think I'm going to have 2 teleporting bow users. Everybody else is going to go either stun or silence. And I'd like to throw more of those out early. I feel like in testing, that was quite a bit more consistent. But I figured maybe, just maybe, if everything lined up just right, we'd be able to take out both the Witch and the Warlock. For better odds of getting those marks, because they are a very high chance to get. Like, I think it's something like 40% give or take. It's almost guaranteed for the very first one that you get. And it's not necessarily like the game's like, oh, the first one you run into, you get that percentage. It never gets that specific. It's more along the lines of every time in the story that you run into something for the first time, you will almost always get those class marks. So like I was pointing out earlier, whether you're in the Vice fight or whether... I forget what the other one is, where they show up, but like the first time you run into Dragoons, that first Dragoon you run into is at least an 80% chance to drop all their class marks. And that's pretty much what's going on here too. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the game decided, nah, you don't get them this time. So it ended up dropping all those coins and things instead, which is annoying, but whatever, we'll deal. So, speed, attack buffs, we should be alright this time. But yeah, a lot of these characters I just never really had the time to raise up exactly. Because, to be honest, we're going to be relying on this whole really strong denim strategy for quite a while. Most of the fights in the game do require just taking out a leader under most circumstances, so that's mostly what we're going to be going for. So as long as he's in a position where he could potentially make use of all those stack damage mechanics to take them out, all we have to do is make sure everybody else is just willing to repeatedly die to get him over to them, and we're pretty much good. But again, that varies by map, that varies by day, by RNG, there's a lot of stuff that can move around. It's actually one of the things that makes watching speedruns of this, despite the fact that they mostly make use of 2 skills, surprisingly fun to watch. And I did very strongly consider spending some of this unexpected extra time here to do a speedrun, but we'll save that for another time, because it's something I do want to do, actually. Because from what I've seen, based on the execution of those guys and everybody else, I honestly think that I can probably improve the time that they've got there. And I know I don't normally do speedruns, but I do normally play this game pretty fast, so we'll see. We'll see. Alright, so as long as I keep somebody else within range to get hit instead of him, we should be alright here. Alright, and now is there any world in which you drop a silence on this guy before he ruins our day? Almost. What about from here? Yeah, that's unfortunate. What about from here? Yeah, how on earth is this blocking the shot exactly? That's annoying, because that really... that that should hit him. Alright, whatever. We'll make it work. Throw out a few random debuffs just for the hell of it. Like, this guy can't even cast. They still probably will take the time to cure the silence. Thank you, AI, for that. Alright, this is the stun lady. Let's go ahead and stun this dragon. Hopefully he won't do anything. In one of the testing runs, I got some pretty amazing RNG where just basically everything turned up and refused to actually attack. It was pretty great. Alright, so you're gonna get insta-nommed as you do. Please miss. Alright, well. On the plus side, there is usually a pretty decent chance that if they survive a hit, you can get them healed up and they're dead. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Yeah, later on down the line when we get access to Paradigm Shift and stuff like that, it's gonna be a joke. But yeah, for the time being, we gotta do it this way. And it's funny because that's actually what the speedruns mostly turn into. It's like, oh, it's like set up a pile of units, use Paradigm Shift, essentially teleport each other across the map, and never bother actually letting the AI get a turn. They just have everybody show up naked and specialize for offense, and then just, yeah, warp your entire group across the map. Surround the leader, just finish him off entirely. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Definitely a hard one to pull off, though, because they're kind of limited in terms of what their resources are over the course of the run. At least from the ones that I've seen. And that's mostly because stuff like Paradigm Shift is very expensive. And for those unfamiliar, the general idea with Paradigm Shift, it's something that was changed quite a bit in One Vision. Basically, it is a 5-tile effective move that has a 60% chance to reset the turns of everybody within that AoE, which, funnily enough, includes the user, meaning that you can essentially just keep making that pile of 5, and if you're familiar with the FFTA Smile Toss combo, it's basically that, but for this. It's clunky to use, though, because of how unreliable that 60% can be sometimes. And, yeah, it can potentially be really good. Like, if you abuse it with Chariot, and good god, this RNG, man. 25% hit chance! Come on! Work with me here. Anyway. And that's not the guy I meant to target with that. It's fine, turn reset, because that was a mistake. Anyway. Point being that, yeah, it's potentially very choosable, especially for something like this. So, for example, the way that the scenario would work if I had access to that would set up a pile there, would have him set up Lion Dance, have him set up something like Bridal, then work that into... Sorry, my camera decided to run away from me. Essentially use a couple of units to Paradigm Shift that entire group, rework the debuff, rework both debuffs there, to make sure that I lost my train of thought. Thanks, Brain! Thanks for working with me today. But no, the idea is, yeah, you put a debuff on him, you put Strengthen on him, you put Warp on him, you put... What else do we want to combine here? You put Teleport on him, and then, yeah, you just repeatedly reset his turn until he gets up to the front. Have him take a quick snipe at a couple of the characters there. And you're basically good. Done deal. Fight lasts about... Hell, almost nobody on the other team should be able to even get a chance to move. Which is good. But again, under most circumstances, a kind of difficult thing to keep up. And because that is just exorbitantly expensive to keep using that ability. And that's normally its limitation there. So, alright, let's take that first shot. Good, good. And I'll keep some of them distracted with healing. Please dodge that, thank you. As long as he doesn't get hit by anything physical, there shouldn't be enough magical damage up there to take Gordon out. He then needs to take out the Witch. Somebody else needs to run up and take out... Beautiful! Double 80% dodge. So yeah, from there somebody else needs to take out the leader, and then we should be good to go. If nobody else can take out the leader, he should hopefully have the points at that point to just do it himself. That's kind of what's supposed to make this one a pretty consistent strategy under most circumstances, but yeah. RNG's been interesting today. It does that sometimes. Looking at it, even after everything, I don't think we're actually going to have the means to take out both the casters. But either way, this is fine. A little bit more damage on her because Strengthen's probably going to wear off here. Alright, Cerebro. I'd like to keep Cerebro here as the backup plan. As much as I'd like to make use of his stun buff here, we're going to put him up here. Alright, we're going to get a few other characters up here who are on the ground. There we go. Buy a little bit more time, put him up front. What we want to do is just kind of create a smoke screen for the characters that actually do have TP built up. So anyone that's... oh, for crap's sake. Yeah, they're really good at that, by the way. I will say, while it's not completely known what the AI targets, I feel like I feel fairly confident in saying that at least in the vanilla game, it doesn't seem to happen as much in OV, but I feel like the AI knows when you're specifically trying to build up TP on somebody. Because I feel like they always go for the ones that have a finisher coming up. Alright, so we just gotta make sure she drops a bag. There we go. And that's all we can realistically guarantee here. Oof. Rude. Okay. Can I have a turn without somebody dying now, please? Thank you. There's a lot of dead characters everywhere. Alright, not too much we can do for him. He's got a turn coming up really soon. Strengthen's probably wearing off. He can probably get about 70 or so damage off, so we still need a finisher on somebody. See, Evan's got nothing. Cheese Stick's got nothing. Does anyone have anything built up at this point? Surely we can't have lost everybody. I mean, Steve's getting there. Okay, he's a good backup plan. Yeah, Paradigm Shift wouldn't make this very easy. But easy is not always going to happen. Alright. So get more characters up, more targets for them to shoot at, more time to build up TP. Quick and fades, that's unfortunate. Please dodge that, and you didn't. Good job dying. Dodge, and another lucky crit. Sweet Jesus, would you stop favoring the AI so much? Yeah, I'm still convinced that that being at a lower level puts you at a luck disadvantage. Because so many times, whenever they need a crit, they'll just get it. I mean, arguably, yes, that happens all the time anyway, but it certainly feels that way. Alright. There we go, 80. So whenever he gets his next turn, that's a finish. Is that a Mega Smart? Yes, there we go. Wemalt and Flamant? No, we don't want that. Alright, all we need is to get haste going on Denim. If we can get that, there's very little that they can do. Alright, you go over here, you are just going to eat a hit for them. You need to speed up. With any luck, an archer will target them. So their turn's coming up pretty soon. He's at 90 right now. For some reason, their warlock decided not to move. He's at 94 right now. Beautiful. There he is at 112. This guy doesn't have a finisher yet. Dodge. Good. Okay, good. They're just gonna go pile on everybody else. That's fine. Power Dragon, as if they weren't already murdering everybody. There we go. Last guy standing. That's all we need. That's all we need. I don't think the last guy can get in range. If he can get in range and gets a lucky Granite Fist, then we're in a bit of hurt. But I don't believe they've got Empower. Yeah, it doesn't look like they've got Empower. They can't get within range anyway. Okay. And that should be checkmate. Let me make sure we go here. Check trajectory, that's looking good. Gotta check trajectory to make sure that it'll hit, and there we go. 300 damage on the guy with 200 health. We've got the marks, we're done here. Yes, Medelliani. Thank you for your loot, and get out of here. So, seeing their old man get pasted across the lawn, suddenly everybody just gives up, and we're good to move on to the next fight. Alright, they drop a whole bunch of cash, that's all well and good. As you can see, yeah, everyone's skill points by this point are in the tens of thousands. It's pretty great. Alright, definitely save instead of load. So we've got a Magus Marks, we can't make use of them yet, though. So this next one is an interesting one. So, all we want is a just absolute heckin' load of crossbows on everybody. However, we essentially want to replace the blowguns with crossbows. So we're going short bow crossbow. Very weird build, I know, but it works. For this one, it works because we need short bows for being able to drop a few things on other characters, while we need the crossbows for actual raw damage. Gordon is the exception here because he needs that bonus dex and he needs that luck. So everybody else needs to just go entirely for being able to respond to different ranges. Actually, Edsum still needs her stuff too. And there we go. So the setup here is an odd one. Essentially, we do something similar to last time, where we set up our strength and right off the bat. Now, Marino here, despite being a TK, is really, really durable, as we saw last time. He's actually more durable than the knights that he's got around, so he's at Vit 88. These knights are at 73 and 76. How on earth he got Vit so high as a frickin' TK is anyone's guess. The man is simply bulky, but either way. Aside from Mr. Bulk Squat Thrust over there, we need to be able to do some damage. So, treat us on courage to start off with. Despite the fact that we've got higher stats this time around, charging in forward is just a good way to get completely wiped in no time flat. So the one that we want getting targeted here is going to be Gordon. Everybody else is going to be running to the back here and setting up their stun buffs. Ideally starting off with stun. Some of them are... We're going to leave a few of them with silence, just to get the knights silence, because they heal people. So, going forward with everybody strengthened, that's only going to be there for the purposes of convenience. So early on, strengthen will mean that we can hopefully just snipe down their ninja there. But what we want to do, get everybody either stunned or bridled, get them up to the back. After that, we'll put haste on everybody. And at that point, we should be able to take out some of the weaker characters before they can hopefully get close. From there, like especially the ninja there, because they're able to one-shot absolutely anybody on the team if they feel like it. They're the ones that come in with all their little diet summons, as it were. And this is definitely one of those situations where as you go throughout the game, those ninjas become more and more powerful because, yeah, their summons are always either way too strong or basically do nothing, and in this case, they're essentially going to be an insta-kill against everyone, because we just simply can never have the resistance to be able to entirely mitigate their damage. So yeah, they're going to be doing like 50... I believe it's like 50 to 250 that they can do on everybody. Obviously that range is not exactly in our favor here. That's alright. We'll deal as we'll deal. So Ninja ideally goes down first. We're going to have Denim snacking down on all those meats that we brought along in order to constantly reload him on finishers. So he'll just sit there, you know, just eating and sniping over and over. And once we're done with that, we should be able to deal with most of their stuff before they get too close here. Denim's able to one-shot absolutely everything on this map under the right circumstances. So as long as he's got Strengthen, he can one-shot any melee character on here as well as all of the other stuff. So ninjas, archers, all of that, he can automatically just take those out. But we wanted him to be the one targeted at the front, because A, he can take the hits, and B, it ends up boosting his TP significantly here by taking those hits. So instead of speeding him up, we're actually just going to heal him here. Reason being, we want him to take as few turns as possible, so that he's hopefully not burning through all of his stuff too quickly. While all buffs and debuffs are on that same timer of recovery time ticks, as long as he's not taking too many turns, he should be able to act. Essentially, his action times end up going better when it comes to buffs and things like that, if he ends up being a little bit slower at the start of this fight. It's kind of a backwards logic thing, but just trust me on that one. Right, we're going to re-up Strengthen. Now, the reason that we're doing this twice, despite the fact that we haven't attacked yet, the timing can be odd on this one. Sometimes Venom will get his turn a little bit sooner, he can take a shot off sooner, but either way, we want to keep that topped off as much as possible. After he takes his first shot, we're going to start putting haste on everybody. From there, the plan is to use Venom to take out as many frontliners as possible, and use everybody else to drop finishers on their archers. So we'll get there when we get there. Right, no crit, unfortunately. That would have been really nice. That's fine. Another nice little side benefit of using blowguns is the fact that they're very, very lightweight, so you end up moving really fast with them. So blowgun dagger is one of the builds that I hope to use quite a bit during this run. After we get to a certain point, like after we start getting strengthen and anatomy on everybody, that's the point where dagger and blowgun's gonna just become the name of the game for a while. Like when I originally routed this, I didn't even think that blowguns would play any part whatsoever, but hell, I completely forgot they existed, and sure enough, here we are, just using blowguns on most of our builds here, as you do, because this game is weird. Also, wait a minute, I meant to use you real quick. Sharpo this guy. Knights are technically a healer class. They will prioritize healing him over doing anything else, which will delay them in getting close. So get a few of those out right there. Now, I wonder if seeing the utter stupidity of this run had any effect on the fact that that One Vision ended up allowing archers to get Art of War, and the fact that you can just do this on your normal archers. I like to think it did, but I have nothing to actually verify that, because I'm pretty sure a lot of folks must have done this for fun. Alright, let's... Who's likely to survive here? I think we'll go for Evan. He's definitely one of the bulkier members of the team here. And yes, this is despite the fact that he gets one shot constantly. Alright. See if you can stun that ninja by chance. No, oh, right. They've got the stun dart. Never mind. Try to stun the archer. Alright, so stun and silence on everyone that we can. This one doesn't have a buff going, so we're going to need more speed going somewhere. Go ahead and get Steve sped up. And you may notice by the fact that we're actually going from 1 damage all the way up to 3 that there's actually options now. Alright. Let's get you the best heal that we can potentially give ya, because I think he does need exactly 75. Actually, you know what? No. Heal 2 will do the job just fine. Hopefully that second archer up top targets him again, because if he does, then we potentially have the option to take somebody out right now. But we'll deal as we'll deal. Thankfully, it looks like he spawned in with a short bow. It's another benefit of this particular part of the game. There's a few parts, specifically right here and right at the very end, where a lot of characters will start spawning in with short bows, just limiting their range pretty significantly. Makes them a little bit more predictable, but oh well. Now, since they're the AI, they spawn with optimal stats for using them, so their damage really won't take much of a hit one way or the other. But you know. And there we go. There's a 1 in 5 chance that they survive this now, and they did it! Alright, nice. Alright, so they're gonna sit here chugging down Lumina Nectars. Still charging forward, but oh well. So all we need, in order to be able to beat this fight, is for Denim to have a fully charged meter. Well, not fully charged. We only need 100 TP on him, which he's very close. He needs Strengthen, and Marino needs to be in Breach. We are very, very close to that, actually, because we've got almost all of those boxes checked. However, we're also in a position where you kind of may notice that, yeah, we can't exactly react to a lot of things properly. So we're going to take a bit of a weird route here. So he's going to go around the side. He's going to try to use the underlings to kind of delay here. 41. What about Radiance too? How's that looking? Alright, so we're going to put 2 Spirit Surges into this ninja here. 80% odds to hit, so they'll probably miss. Or not, that's good. Because yeah, if we can get them taken out right now, that'll probably be the clincher for this. Yeah, 68% chance to hit. Come on, good. Wow, okay. Okay, not gonna say no to that. Now, a funny thing is, I originally was thinking, looking at the classes that were available, okay, we have access to ninjas, I should be using those. They're clearly the better option here. However, the funny thing is, most of the ninjas' strengths and whatever else come from the fact that somebody did a really piss-poor job balancing daggers and katanas. And yes, I am intentionally pronouncing that weird, don't question it. So them dang katanas end up being pretty friggin' strong scaling-wise towards the end, as do daggers through most of it. However, here's the funky part. Early on, when it comes to actual class bonuses to attack, for some reason, the rogue has the highest. Like, this is literally compared with everything. They have the highest dexterity by a kind of disgusting margin, actually. Because when I was going through, I was like, you know what, surely, I'm remembering this wrong. No, they're, so to give you an idea, for archers, I believe they've got double the attack bonus of archers, if I remember. Not to mention, like, archers, I believe, get, like, 8 or so dexterity. These guys get 10, in terms of just what's available at the base level. It's not mind-blowing in the long run, but still, just the fact that it's there is a bit of an odd one. Alright, so these guys don't have much TP right now. Let's see, how are his points going? He's at 100. Can you get close enough to drop a breach? Can anyone get close enough to do that? Cerebro, alright. Well, for the sake of safety then, you're gonna go over here, you're gonna put a new dance up, because we might be able to just end it right here. Let's do the line dance. I love the weird checkmates of this run. Alright, Mr. Cerebro, give this man some liquor. I kind of feel like Dynast King's Mead and Ashmedai's Grog probably should have been swapped in the item list. Because just being able to tell somebody, no, your defense doesn't exist anymore from level 1, kind of strong, but whatever. Gonna go ahead and speed him up in case we do need to do a follow-up, because it's kind of gonna be all or nothing right here. Let's see, she's got her stun buff. So we got Archer coming in immediately after. Who else? Lady Knights. Okay. just in case we need to prep for this. Because yeah, if we can end this before they're even a factor, that'd be amazing. Alright, confirm trajectory, that's looking good. Almost. Alright, so that's very, very close. Let's see what else we could potentially do here. So this is one of the characters that hasn't been raised up at all. What's his casting look like? So yeah, they've got a whole bunch of healing coming in, and well, yeah, we might have flubbed this. That's fine. That's fine. Let's see, who's fastest here? They might decide that instead of healing, they might go for one of these other guys here. Seems like Sven Lady is in the best position for a follow-up. We've only got the one character that's actually got the ability to do hard damage here. Okay, they're going for the attack. They're going for the heal. Realistically, what I should have done was just set it up a little bit better. But, what can you do? Alright. Because there is always the possibility I can just have him sit in place and scarf down a couple of stakes while everybody else tries to buy time. As they're going around getting absolutely slaughtered here. Actually, out of curiosity, what does your Spirit Surge look like against the sky? 18? You know what? Worth it. Alright, confirm trajectory. That looks good. Whatever, go for it. Go for the finish. Oh, get out of here. Now's when the 80% start missing constantly. Now you're the one with higher damage, or not. Alright. That's fine, that's fine. That's not. That dude's just gonna get roasted alive. Right. And I have turns now. Thank you. Alright, Felicia, what have you got nuke-wise? Because we've got a whole bunch of turns coming up. If we can just peck away at their health here, we're very close now. Beautiful. Okay. If this next one hits, then we've got this. So this should be an okay shot. Alright, trajectory looks good. And yes, I realize that I'm constantly using trajectory to check whether a spell will hit, and was always making fun of the vanilla game for having that as a particular feature. However, I should point out, throwing rocks don't necessarily have the same trajectory, so I know somebody's going to bring that up, but there you go. Right, so that just does 11. Unfortunately, I mean, we're going to take that if it's the best option available. Yeah, he's not nearly as good with casting. So blowgun's 11, crossbow's 3. Come on, one of y'all's got to hit one of these. Alright, come on, do it. So if you target there, yes, that will hit him. Well, I mean, provided RNG is nice, it'll hit him. Beautiful, 2 health. Alright. Alright, there's a safe way and there's a not safe way. So for one thing, how does Judgment look here? Still 1. Okay, but that's... Who's the next unit here? So we got both of them. They can do Judgment. What does Wind Shear look like here? 75%? You know what? No. Just do 2 Judgments. We're not even going to risk it. Ah, this guy's going down 1 health at a time. I don't care. Because, yeah, Judgment does miss. And then Frisk, one of our completely un-anything characters, they're still almost entirely just straight out of the store. We'll go ahead and take out a take out the boss of Chapter 2. There we go. The backup Wallister King guy there. I have to look up what his story was. I don't even remember. God, I must have a story. So he drops the Bastard Sword early on pretty much every route, I believe. Or anytime that you run into him. It's kind of his thing. He's supposed to be at least somewhat special. Then the letter comes in, and then we have our 1v1. So funnily enough, this is the one that I was kind of expecting to prep for absolutely ages ago. What can you do? Alright, so this is, I mean, technically it's a 3v1, or whatever. So, if at any point Leonard gets close to Denim here, it's just game over. But alright. The answer's pretty simple. You basically just have him sit here and eat. After eating has been done, just get the strengthen boost and throw. Well, actually, probably throw out a defense remover fairly early on. In fact, I think we're just going to do that right now. Probably just take one of those hits. So the annoying part for this particular one, while his finishers would be a one-hit kill against basically everybody on the map, he has a very annoying habit of throwing out Phalanx, which, unlike One Vision there, Phalanx is a super irritating skill to deal with, because instead of putting down shadows or whatever else, well, you get that nice happy thing where this right here, he just takes his next turn forever from now and increases his defense by 95%. It is a pain in the nads, so yeah. Deal with that as we will. Now what we're going to do is throw out a Lion Dance here. Get just slightly out of range. One-handed swords never get any kind of ranged abilities on them, so we don't have to worry about anything other than being directly close to this guy, which his range kind of sucks, so we can just go right here. Not to mention he's delayed for quite a while here. That even with such a long turn, we're still perfectly fine. So he's breached, we're strengthened, Vice is strengthened, everybody's all good. Interestingly, apparently Vice is counted as an enemy for this one. Huh. Yeah, he actually didn't get the buff. How about that? Alright. The more you know, I suppose. And so then we're just going to drop one of these on him. Drop a train on him, as he will. So crazy high vid on this guy, still do 150 with that. Actually, interestingly, his vid is slightly lower than the last guy. How about that? What's his movement range like? Yeah, here's fine. Continuously keep getting healed here. Now, he's one of the bosses that you don't need to get down to critical, he actually has to die. Alright, let's just go ahead and eat another mollusk, I think. Or another mince patty. So mince patty, I believe, are resistance and mind. Mollusk is int and mind or something like that. Lucky parry. And just want to have a quick chuckle here at the unbelievably slow parry and deflect training rates. Just in case anyone missed it before, yeah. A skill that has a 5% chance to proc gave 0.2% towards the next level. How long do you think that's going to take him to raise up? I mean, to be fair, sometimes it'll give half experience when it doesn't proc or whatever else, but just still, it's just funny. I just love it. It's a weird little detail. Okay. So what we're gonna do is put up a fortify right now, and just sit here. Probably could run up and probably try to steal some items from him or something. I think he's got a gold Obreth or something, but we're not exactly strapped for cash right now. And yeah, even with Phalanx, we should be able to finish him off right now. Especially, oh, way to fail, Vice. Way to fail. So you want to see how that's done exactly? Ah, that's actually kind of depressing. If even one of his shots had landed, we'd be able to completely one-up him right now. But no, can't have that. Alright, we're gonna have to wait for his Phalanx to wear off. This skill is just super annoying. Like, I think more times than not, you end up seeing characters dying more to the fact that they bled out while Phalanx was active than actually getting taken out in some normal manner. Like a boss will just sit there spamming Phalanx forever. But okay, whatever. We'll just do this. Do it! Come on. Roll 3 threes. Perfect. Unique animation! Oh man, I need to add him to the unique animation team. Because yeah, for the One Vision tournament, one of the teams is everyone that has a unique animation that never gets seen again. I guess technically he's got a couple of them here. But no one else ever really kneels. Which, I mean, if they're already giving one guy a kneel animation, they really could have done that for everybody on this. I guess part of the fact... See, here's the funny thing about this game. I repeatedly end up thinking stuff like that. Which, by the way, he's still got Phalanx when he's dead. It's going to make him bombing a real pain in the neck. But I keep thinking stuff like that every time that I play through this. But kneeling would not have worked as an animation in this game. Because there's so many different things that are tied to how their spray moves. Like there's so many debuffs in this game. I think there's literally like 50 or something. And you get stuff like stun with them shaking slightly. You get stuff like bind and shackle, or rather bind with them not moving their feet all of a sudden. You get stuff like fear with a bit of a different shake. Man is a creature of sorrow and fault and ever will be. Yeah, very true there. That's humanity in a nutshell. We're a bit of a flawed species. And then we're gonna skip the voiceover. You know, before the copyright thing gets mad at us. It's the weirdest stuff that's completely copyrighted in this one. So, Casual leaves at this point, so goodbye free healer. Unfortunately. And then she leaves. Okay. Leader of men and women. Alright. So I want to save it at that point. Now here's the depressing irony of this whole situation. We went through all of that in order to get access to Golemy, right? Guess where golems are? They're over on this part of the map we can't access right now. So yeah, that's the scary thing. However, they do use some golems as part of these teams, so we'll still have some options there. And I believe there's actually some you can run into in Farambo, which... that's probably not a terrible idea to pursue. The funny part is, the unit that we need to recruit is something that we can basically do no damage to. So functionally speaking, we'd have to whittle them down 1 health at a time in order to get the ability to even damage them properly. So more than likely what we're going to do is just kind of see how far we can get going down this way. They will level up at this point. I believe Crit and I is when they really, really ramp it up. But if I'm not mistaken, one of these two maps actually does have some golem spawns on there. So we're just going to give that a quick little peek here. I think build-wise we're probably okay to keep continuing as we are. Because yeah, there's not really anything else we can do for anyone at the moment. Alright, and we'll see who we actually give Golemy to later. Since for now, as long as we have somebody with it, we're good. But yeah, as far as shop updates, let's go over what we actually have here. So, inflicts breached on multiple targets. Very yes. But we can't afford very many at the moment. So let's see, weapon-wise. Just need like 12 of everything. I actually sold a lot more of these than I remember. Either way, we can get a lot of money, and like literally at any point we can just go sit in timeout and get all these redone. Like I think what it was, I just went and restocked on a lot of things. That's probably why we don't have as many laying around. Yeah, anything that's not level 1 we can immediately get rid of too. Get rid of the Siege Sword, even though it's kind of a rare drop. The fact that the Siege Sword drops, but you don't get other drops there, makes me think that maybe it was meant as a reference to Symphony of the Night. I'm not sure, but it looks really, really close to what was the Rusty Sword called? It's like the Red Tide or something. I forget what it was. It's probably not called Red Tide. I really would hope that nothing's named after Red Tide. Anyone who's lived in Florida knows what I mean and why. Because that crap sucks. It's like, imagine if you just woke up one day and your entire city just smelled nauseatingly like dead fish. And, like, there's just nothing anyone can do about it. I mean, technically speaking, there's a bunch of regulatory stuff that could be done about it, but there's way too much money floating around for anyone to really have any means of moving that particular bar. So, you know, that's a little bit awkward. Alright, so, now that we've got 274 grand, let's go back and take a look at this real quick. Bomb Breeze, all this other stuff, not super useful right now. Major heal we're topped up on. Top off on these. Cleanse removes poison. Anyway, I have a couple of them. We really don't need that often. Awakened Stone is pretty rare right now. Remove Silence, not really necessary because you don't actually... you can actually still use these even with Silence on, I believe. Innervate's fine. Swiftness, can probably top off on those. Radiance 2. Whatever. We'll get 3 down the line. I mean, we're pretty much already topped off on everything. You don't get very much at this point. It's after you do the Eastern, or not the Eastern, but after you do the Western invasion that you end up getting a whole lot of stuff. But until we get there, we're kind of as we are, and it's actually a fun little thing as far as that goes. To kind of explain away a few things, because depending on the different routes that you take, you get different kinds of unlocks going on. And it's interesting because yeah, at this point, nothing's really changed. You haven't really improved your faction so much, so you don't really get much out of it. So even though story-wise, all they really had to do was, you know, you go over here now, that's just it. Instead, it's a nice little thing where you don't actually get access to a whole lot of stuff at this point. You gotta go through this whole eastern bit. I believe on neutral, you end up getting it like 3 fights into it as well. However, in that case, you basically just travel across the map. You deal with a few little incursions that came up. Fight Zombie Gildas, and then you come back and it's like, oh yeah, guess what? You know, now the peace has been reestablished, we've got all this new sweet stuff going on. Alright. So, Hector 1. Bit of a challenge. How's your Vit doing? Because everything's going to be comparing to that 88 Vit that we've dealt with before, and he's got 90. So yeah. He's got 90, we need 2 finishers to be able to finish him off. We're just going to start throwing those out right off the bat. Now, this first map is fairly open. He doesn't really have much in the way of guards going on. They can lock you down pretty quick, but what we're going to do is actually just circle around the side here, try to bait them into going down the front. Their casters are a problem later. For now, all we need is just to have some line dances and stuff like that going out. Deal with things that way. We'll get a breach on him in a little bit. I'm going to save resources slightly, because we can't get too many inferiority dances. But we functionally should only have 3 fights that are necessary for the time being. At least until we get some upgrades. The cool thing is, our speed will just keep going up and up and up and up and up and up. So, like, for example, with these night guys right here, they've got nothing at the moment. Speed-wise, they are going to start getting heavier and heavier armor. Baldur's one of their big jumps. Tower shields are one of their big jumps, and they're gonna be slowing down real good, real quick here. It's one of the reasons that Phalanx becomes such a problem for them, because that giant bump in recovery time means that they're sitting there for absolutely ages trying to get anything to happen. Right. So, here's what to do. Let's get a few of these bridles out, because there is a chance we're going to flub this initial little assassination attempt. So we're going to need to make sure that their healing isn't too intense. Pretty much just do the same thing as last time, but a little bit better. We'll need to have some silences and stuns set up to make that workable. And so we will. Also had a little bit of a minor panic. Just looked over at the time here, and for a second I thought it was 8:30, and like, oh crap. I'm late to leave, but no. So far so decent. I will say in probably about an hour or so I gotta wrap this up, so we'll do as long as we can, and then we'll go from there. And you know what? If it ends up being a relatively quiet day, then we should be able to either continue on with this or move on with some One Vision later. And yeah, it's good to get some of those things done. It's fun. I wish there had been more time around lately, but I mean, it's a new job situation. As soon as stuff's a bit more stable, I really hope to be able to work in some more of these during some days. But yeah, as it stands, it's been so busy that we literally had a relative kind of low-key move in with us for a little bit to help deal with all the pressures of everything. And this is the first bubble there's been for any kind of anything else for quite a while. Like between recovery, between the new job, between everything else, it's been pretty busy. I mean, on a typical day, end up getting up at 4, end up getting all the kiddos ready, get all my notes ready for the day, do some pre-research before heading out on my calls. End up sitting in for a few meetings because we're required to, even though, well, frankly, a lot of them don't necessarily give too much information for everybody. Usually it's like one person has an issue and everybody else learns from a kind of situation, which is oftentimes followed up by another meeting, which just goes for a bunch of stuff that, quite frankly, it's on a completely other pay grade. It doesn't really, it's not something that would affect too much, but either way, stuff you gotta do. Right. So she doesn't have any buffs up, but she needs to, so there we go. Let's get you going. Make sure everybody's all fast-like. The damages that we're looking at here. Yeah, nothing too mind-blowing. I just basically need one of these guys to survive the next round, so that they can get that breach off. Probably should have picked up more breach items, actually. We'll do that after this. I think we'll pile you up over here. Actually, no, wait. She's got the silence, so if we put you right here, just within range to get that Wizard All Silency. We don't have to worry about his shenanigans. So we get a stun guy, or stun lady right here. Can't quite reach that one, can't quite reach that one. Dude named Derek. Oi. Sorry for that awkward noise. Throat got very, very dry. Ended up fixing up one of these little air freshener things, and it just ended up blowing right in my nose here. Throat got really dry really quick. Funny part is, every time I read somebody with the name Derek now, like, I don't know if anybody else here watches Stop Skeletons from Fighting, but I always hear their intro every time I read that name now. That's funny. It's actually a really fun channel to watch. It's like, the whole premise of their whole shtick is like this guy going over stuff that's just bizarre from back in the day. I believe the way, let's see how they put it, the weird, ambitious, and unnecessary is how they put it. But it's stuff like weird ports for the GBA and stuff like that, of just like, here's how somebody put like Duke Nukem 3D on a GBA and stuff like that. Or like histories behind weird stuff that should never have had any business running on something else. It's fun. Alright, so these guys are pretty basic casters. They're not even really going to have much of an answer for being silenced. They're just going to be like, guess I'm okay with this, sure. Just kind of awkwardly sit there. As you do. So I know that after... Let's see, I believe it's after this, or it might be after the next castle that we get access to Heal 3. At some point here, we get access to Heal 3 as well as Paradigm Shift, but we'll see. Let's see how all of that goes. That'd be pretty cool. And buff them up as a bit of a backup strategy here. Ah, jeez. Ah, jeez. Oh, hello, cat. How are you doing? The cat says hi. Or one of the cats says hi. Okay, that's fine. Nice. Alright. What does our damage look like before the breach? Not awful, surprisingly. I mean, they'd still just peel it away, so we're just going to sit in place for the time being. You go ahead and throw out one of those dances here. Cool thing about doing the dance version is A, it shouldn't take as long to use, and B, like I believe there's a flat cost to using them like this. Oh, it's got a chance to miss? What? Okay, never mind, that's worthless. That's worthless, okay. That's fine. How would you like some liquor? Hardly know her, etc. Right, I don't think they have access to ease yet. That should be level 20 or so, I believe. Yeah, they shouldn't have anything to answer that. Well, that being said, we should be able to death whale some stuff here. So let's see, if we take out that one, there's guaranteed no healing, but we should be able to one-shot him anyway. This guy, there's a chance that his silence will wear off, and that'll be a problem. So just do it that way. Not to mention there is a small chance that he'll end up dropping some kind of spells or whatnot that we don't have access to yet. So that'd be handy. And on the off chance that this is something useful, we'll just go ahead and stun this one. There we go, and they should have another turn coming up pretty quick here. Come on, crits. No crit. Yeah, a crit would have been nice because it would have pushed him back very slightly. Oh well. Pretty okay chance to survive that one. There we go, just barely survive, that's good enough. Let's see how much of a difference this breach made. And suddenly it's a one-shot. Perfect. Alright. So his stats don't change. Thinking back on it, the first shot probably would have been fine as well. Because he just needs to be, I think it needs to go down to 20 or 25% for this one. For his second fight, he actually does have to die at that point, and that's when Yunin joins. So one way or another, we're going to have some options here. So at the very least, we should have access... Actually, I don't think Yunin comes with Strengthen, now that I think about it. Ah, that sucks. What? Yeah, I'm fairly certain Yunin only comes with Fortify, Draconology, and Dragon Slayer. I mean, in terms of useful stuff. He's got some other options as well, but I'm fairly certain that's all we get. Right, is Bone Elusive dead happening by chance? No, I think that's... yeah, that's gonna be later. Is this stuff new? Is this a new? Yeah, one thing I'd love to see, and I guess Fell Seal's the closest so far, but it doesn't have an animation for it. But one thing I always want to see is, for anyone that's ever played Warhawk on the PS1, I've always wanted to see a restock animation that looked like that. It's like, I just wish that there was an option for, like, you just pick what items you want to have restocked. Or again, just like use the Fell Seal method, where it just restocks certain things automatically, but then you just show it back in the UI, and just goes through every item and just like clicks everything back up to where it needs to be. Ah, that'd be fun. But well, yeah, it doesn't look like we have anything new. I'm pretty sure there's nothing new item-wise that we can make use of either. Yeah, most of these plus ones we won't be able to make any use of. Fruit of the Sage... yeah, Feel Out 3, yeah, that's gonna happen. There's very little that we can actually use here. I mean, we'll get Field Out 2 eventually, and once we start getting into Coda stuff, we'll have a lot more options. Like, eventually we should be able to get access to at least... I know I can pretty much guarantee Field Out 2, but I think Field Out 3? I know we'll get Anatomy relatively soonish, so that's going to be a pretty big jump in power there. We'll get access to at least up to Strength 3. I don't think we'll ever get a chance to get Strength 4. What else? We should have access to Augments after a little while. Although only certain augments, because it's a weird thing. You can get augments from the Ferena Sisters, and you can get them from any casters that you can hire, so we might have to go back, like pick up Bayon, and... actually no, I don't think Bayon even comes with augments. I think his New Game Plus version might come with augments. I mean, I guess we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. Yeah, trying to figure out where to get what from where is kind of nuts. Like it's funny, the actual process of beating the game for the first time would be so much easier if even one character had Demonology. And in fact, that's one of those things that's going to be a regular problem. Or Umbrology, or whatever the hell it is. I always want to call it Demonology. Alright, let's see, is it on the list? Theydnology. Or no, not Theydnology. Not Orology. Yeah, Demonology. I think it was changed to Umbrology in One Vision, that's what it is. Because that always throws me. But yeah, Demonology. Nobody has this, like, anywhere. It's only a level 3, but still 2 levels too high for us. This one skill, if acquired, would essentially turn... I think it's like I think the minimum would have been like a Strengthen 2 plus a regular Strengthen buff plus a Breach. Can one-shot the last boss with a Death Whale. So it's just weird as far as that goes. There's nothing... So scaling-wise, in terms of what finishers we can use and learn and whatever else, if we get access to Fire Augment down the line, Brimstone Hail suddenly becomes a lot more useful, because this thing scales damage with TP plus scales off Fire. So Fire Aug plus Brimstone, potentially more useful in Death Whale under certain circumstances, because this also gets a flat bonus, plus it's an AoE. But again, that's more circumstantial there. Eventually it would get to the point of being at least 100 damage, because you get about 1 to 2 extra damage per TP scaled. Combine that with TP plus eventually, and again, just more guaranteed damage. So let me step away real quick here, and then we'll move on to Brigantus 1. Yeah, we'll see which route we end up going here, but just one quick second here. Alrighty, and we're back. One very necessary drink of water later. Alright. All things considered, we should have all the options we need here. Basically what we need Brimstone Hail off of him, and we need, basically need Dark Weight off everybody else. So we should have enough food items to make it through this thing. After this, hopefully we should have access to everything that we need to move forward. So for this one, we only need a couple finishers. We'd basically get torn apart by archers if we spent too long here, so what we're gonna do is, yeah, we're gonna eat a bunch of food items to start off with. And we've still got 11 of these left. Now we're down to 10. So that'll give us 50. There we go. Now, Death Whale is unfortunately not something that works through all heights, but you know, it's got to have some limitation on it. Death Whale is actually just entirely a short-range burst move, so yeah, not too much we can do to help it out in this particular map. However, Brimstone Hail and Dark Weight can target other elevations. That guy's going to run himself right up to the front like an absolute genius. So what we're going to do, now we're going to have two characters up in the front here, taking food items. It's going to be nomming away. Get their TP up. That should be all we need to finish them off. Then once we pick up Paradigm Shift down the line, we'll be all good to go for the races here. What exactly was I looking for? Speed up, right. There we go. Speed you up, speed the other one up. There's not really any need to use any of the ninja abilities for this one either. No need to use poison arrows or anything. Eventually down the line we will end up using proper poison arrows, by the way. Like once that's an option. Because yeah, I might be thinking like, hey, you know, poison's not very strong in this game, why exactly does it show up so late? And why does it seem to have so much value on it? It's just like, for stuff like this, when there's situations where you literally can't do damage any other way, it is incredibly strong. But it's a matter of... it's kind of one of those matter of perspective things, to be honest. But, oh well. Alright. Everyone else is just going to sit around to be fodder, ideally. And or be a healer in this particular case. Please miss. What the hell, man? 60 plus 25%? Appreciated, game. Greatly appreciate you wasting that food item that took like an hour to get. Rude. Alright, well I guess it's time to start boosting somebody else. This game sometimes. At least we know that since her defense is low, they'll probably be targeting her. Yeah, it's really unfortunate because she was right where she needed to be, too. Because if she had survived that one, it would have been a simple matter of keeping her healed up, at which point, that would have been it. Would have had two finishers ready. I guess there's a small chance that we can just do it this way. Gonna see if we can scale Brimstone Hail up enough to be able to just one-shot him. It's possible, I guess. But there's no way to know without his next turn coming up. Possible, but not likely. Let's put it that way. Because we'd probably need at least something to finish him off. Let's see what the rest of this does against them. I mean, I guess Judgment can actually give him a little bit of trickle damage. So yeah, he's... oh, you dick! That's fine, we got an answer to this. Dick move, but we've got an answer to it. But the AI knew. They knew what we were going for. Man, could you imagine if healing abilities scaled the same way that debuffs do? I'm sorry, you failed casting Awakened Stone. Enjoy being a rock forever. Yeah, once we get access to stuff like counter and whatever else, that'll give us more options for actually building up TP. Right now, we are definitely lacking in that department. Like, literally all we can do is either attack or use a food item. Otherwise, in this case, I'd probably sacrifice a couple units, have them run up with short bows, have them counter with the blowgun, have them essentially build up TP really fast. Once Paradigm Shift comes along, I'll probably end up doing that just to save on some of those items. Because yeah, even then, he would still take 20 here. Boost him up a little bit. I mean, we'd essentially just be sacrificing a couple units to build him up all the way up to 200. Once we get TP Plus later, which I think, like, I'd assume that's available as a transfer skill. I actually don't know. Or a salvage skill from somewhere. Like, a lot of that stuff, it's going to be pretty seat of the pants, especially on this route. At least up until we get to Chapter 4. I mean, I'm just doing this as we go. Alright, double 25s. Is it happening? Okay. I was going to say, double 25% hit chance, it just feels like the game's going to do it. Just like it did last time. Well, I mean, last time it was like 60-25, but still. It was the 25 that hit. That's what makes it sting. Alright. I really hope this music's coming through. It is some fantastic music. Alright. Yeah, 127. All we need is for him to eat one more. He can one-shot him. So he's exactly where he needs to be. Hopefully the guy doesn't run away, because this guy is inexplicably a wizard set on Vanguard AI. For whatever reason. I think it's so that he can use his petrification stuff, maybe, but still. Lion Dance one more time. Just to make sure that he's all topped off and ready to go. Alright, do we, by any chance... Yeah, arrows are probably going to hit somebody else. I don't believe there's any resistance abilities in the cards, funnily enough. They have two of them. Let's see, what was it? I think they have two of them that... Oh, no, wait, there we go. There's Resilient. I don't think it'll be enough to keep Petrification away from him. Like, I think that just reduces damage. I don't think it actually reduces hit chance. Because I believe it's Mind and Avoidance that increase chance to dodge. When it comes to Petrification, anyway. But yeah, I don't think there's any way to really buff it aside from passively buffing him. Yeah, I actually can't remember if Regeneration is one of the things you can pick up in Palace of the Dead, but if that's the case, it would be very handy to have. Unfortunately, at this point, I don't know if it actually is, but with how fast we're going to be, it would be incredibly handy. If for some reason this backfires, I'm just putting a gnome on for now. That's fine. None of them need to do anything. With any luck, he should have exactly enough points to pull this off, and if he's a little bit shy, the rest of the team should be able to drop space lasers on him to finish him off from there. And in fact, why don't we just go ahead and drop some of those right now? Wait a minute. Before we go on with all of that, please tell me that I grabbed more Yeah, I have one breach item. I really hope that's enough. This might go horribly. Oh well. Kakranoros, taking a very tiny amount of damage. Yeah, 201. Can take anybody else with him? Can nuke the knight too, can almost nuke that one. Man. This is without augments either. This is without augments, this is without strength, and he's able to one-shot a knight with it, so... Yeah. So if we get that, plus TP+, plus a fire augment, I mean, he's functionally just running a grenade launcher at that point. And this is at level 1. My first time through the game, I ran a heavy crossbow on Denim, which, yeah, I think it was like heavy crossbow Dragoon. Like, that dude just one-shot everything, everywhere, forever. Fun little scene here, too. Where, he's basically going back and forth over how good their defense is, they can't possibly be stopped here, and then him and his dad are like, yeah, no, it's fine, we're totally not throwing everybody under the bus to try and defect here, it's fine. Y'all are dicks, okay, bye. Like, I love this particular scene. I love it. Like, dude knows he's gonna die. He's like, you know what? Basically, this is the only way to get our name out of the mud right here. This whole situation's really messed up. You're gonna turn us back into good guys. Go make it happen. And he's like, yeah, I don't deserve it. Like, it's such a good scene. God, I love it. Anyway. He's weirdly happy about it, but yeah. So basically, long story short of the plot here, they've been completely against everything that's been going on the Galveston side for ages, and he's been looking for the opening they needed, and this is exactly what they needed. Such a good scene. Absolutely love it. Like, well, about to go eat a brimstone hail. Alright, so let's go ahead and see how hard we regret saving over this right now. Who needs a second save file? Alright. We're going to stick with a pretty similar setup here. Not going to bother with blowguns on everybody. We should have everything that we need ready to go here. Just need that strengthened, 2 food items, and somebody delivering a breach. Unfortunately, he's got a hell of a lot of frontliners going on. He ends up sending away most of his knights elsewhere. It's kind of a cool note. And I actually skipped over like an idiot, but basically what he turned around and said in the hallway was like, "Hey, you guys are totally here for all those people that are defecting downstairs. Oh man, I knew you'd come." Like, wait a minute, what? There's people defecting downstairs? It's so good. It's so good. And the messed up part is you actually end up coming back here on other routes under the same circumstances. He's not there to tell you, so they just stay in jail. It's just, it's funny. I mean, it's not funny as much as tragic, but it's interesting. I want to say on neutral, if you end up doing that route, you get a little note later that they joined up by some degree. I end up joining somebody, I don't remember exactly. Something ends up happening along those lines. Alright, so what we need here is relatively simple-ish. So we can't really stay in the fight for terribly long. We can't let those guys get terrifying impact, because once they do, anybody hit by that is just useless, and we have no way to really get rid of it, for the time being anyway. Because I don't think we even have Harden. Wait, do we? Yeah, we don't even have Harden. So basically, Fear is something we absolutely cannot deal with under any circumstances right now. Anyone hit by it is disabled for all intents and purposes for up to 5 turns. So definitely less than an ideal thing there. Now Hector will just run himself forward in most circumstances. Obviously it makes sense in this case because he's not terribly attached to his life at the moment. So there's that. We're gonna put this strengthen buff on a few people. Actually, no. I think we're gonna put bridle, because if they start throwing out mass stuns everywhere, that's gonna get a little bit annoying in terms of recovery. So we're gonna go 50-50 split of bridle and stun. Try to spread out as much as possible here. And then the general idea is, as before, just get Denim close enough to throw out a Brimstone Hail, get somebody else close enough to throw out a Breach, make that mess happen. Failing that, we get somebody else as a backup. But I believe we should be just fine. Because all we need, we already confirmed that all we need is that one shot. I don't believe the stats change at all. Yeah, he actually somehow lost 1 bit on his way over here. I believe it's because he switched over to a spiked shield from a tower shield. Either way, his stats changed slightly, so that's fine. So still, we just need the 1 breach, and then we're all good. Put speed ups on as many units as possible, and then go from there. The Berserks do quite a bit. Those guys don't matter too much. And as long as we put speed ups on everybody, their long range options kind of suck. So what we should be able to do is just survive all their initial hits, take some heals. If the first attempt fails, we just follow it up with something else. Hector, what you doing, man? Alright, that's problematic. That means they've got 3 stuns all of a sudden, on top of potentially more right here. Even with all of their recent bonuses, 55% is the best dodge they can get. Alright. I mean, blowguns are still doing an absolute heckin' load of damage here. That said, meat. Alright, plan B. We're just gonna have to blow these guys away, I guess. Now, under most circumstances, I would say we just deal with the debuff. In this particular case, I want to make sure at least some of them are gone. Alright, get rid of his. Can't even hurt a lot of these guys. But yeah, this is the point at which it just kind of becomes embarrassing when Berserkers and Archers have better defense than these Knights. And this is like across the board too, so for pretty much everything they're worse. Alright, well, let's go ahead and put a silence on you. My goal here, give or take, is to have the frontliners run up, Brimstone hail them away, and then we'll deal with everybody else as they come. And if all goes well, She should be able to fire at both of those guys before they move forward. The healer hopefully shouldn't be a problem because we should be one-shotting everybody anyway. We'll see. It's probably going to be one tile too far away. No, that's fine. I would say don't bother, but we're gonna need them. We need them for stuff and things. Go ahead and re-up this. Beautiful. And yeah, when it comes to restocking on food items and whatever else, I'm not gonna make anyone sit through that. All that stuff, just like before, I'm just gonna do in the background. I mean, it literally just involves going to Parumpa and repeatedly killing off the same units until they drop them. There's only 3 units in the game that will consistently drop them in the main story. Once you go into Coda, there's another section that it can happen. The very first Coda fight, in fact. It's kind of a pain in the neck, to be completely honest. Like, basically, it's the one where you get swarmed by pirate dudes and whatever else. It's fine. It does the job, it's just kind of weird. Because, yeah, in most cases, since you're only running 3 units at that point, you don't really have any opportunity to go pick up those items. So most of the time you're just fighting stuff and hoping for one to drop, and then eventually they run out. But, Like, personally, I've never really used that map for that particular purpose. I've noticed that it can happen. And I've actually never gotten to the point of those units running out, but I've been told a few times that apparently it's a thing that can happen. So that's fine. So 57. What does Deathway look like on you? 51. Okay. That's fine. By the same token, what if this guy were to be deleted? Because these TKs are currently our biggest threat. And now, since he's already spent his points already, I'm just going to go ahead and move him up here. There's a chance he'll get attacked in melee, which is what I want. Unfortunately, they decided that wasn't worth it. Alright, fine. But going forward here, we shouldn't really need any food items. Just basically take hits and let them charge. Go ahead and re-up strengthen on this bunch right here. Alright, looking good. And in fact, I have the one... No, I don't have the fortifying one yet. Yeah, the fortifying dance will be very handy once that comes up, but we're not quite there yet. Give it time. Give it time. Can't help but notice that Cerebro, for whatever dang reason, does not actually... I don't know why on earth he doesn't actually have a Field Elk on him. He should. I could have sworn he had it. Everybody should have it. It's kind of the standard. But yeah, at this point they've got few enough units doing little enough damage that until they start coming out with finishers, I think this is pretty much sustainable. It really does not take much to break this particular map. But yeah, we're going to have to deal with the frontliners first before we can actually get close to Hector, since he decided that charging really is not part of his day-to-day. So what I'm thinking right now, if Hector decides to charge, good, we do the breach, we do the foods, we do the strengthens, and we win. If he doesn't, we deal with the squishies, probably deal with the casters first, berserkers next, take a finisher onto this one at some point, and then go about it that way. Alright. Gonna heal on Steve here. Alright. Hit some. I can probably afford to sacrifice a little bit here. Chance of this failing, but oh well. Go for the heal. Unfortunately, that makes him incredibly weak to follow-up Windcasters right now. Yeah, when it comes to the burst stuff, usually it's not too big of a deal. When you're on a level 1, it's basically like they will get killed by the next time this element touches them. So, need to keep that in mind. Alright, he's got stun on hand. Probably wouldn't be a terrible idea to stun down some of these archers. But yeah, for now, let's just heal. Because stun is nice. I mean, they might just make a dumb choice on their own, though. Right. We don't want to build up her points. So the ideal here is, yeah, go for the casters. Yeah, going for the casters will waste their points. Hector's a carrying dude, so he'll go and heal him up. Since they spawned in with mostly light weapons here, it gives us an opportunity to do a little bit of healing and stuff like that. Thankfully, you don't have to worry about ultra-optimized archers or anything. And actually, when it comes to archers and stuff like that, you might be thinking, like, hey, why does it seem like you guys have a weirdly high resistance to arrows and things? It's because we do have a weirdly high resistance to arrows and things, and it's because we're getting 36% damage reduction from having everyone maxed out in bows. Pretty handy. Not, you know, perfect by any means, but it's useful all the same. Alright, what can you do? There's some ones. I think that falls under the category of not being super useful right now. I'd like to move everybody up a couple rows. Nothing too crazy, I'd still like to be covered on the sides. Go ahead and crossbow her. So that'll put out a silence. They might be tempted to get rid of that. Please dodge, and you didn't. Come on, dodge. Good. Good. Hold the line, as it were. Slowly building up points here. Alright, no skills left on you. Let's make sure he's still sped up. Obviously, once we get access to Tactician and things like that, this will be a lot easier to deal with. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, stun's gonna be our main counter to that kind of stuff for the time being. Keep him within healing range. Is this a workable shot? Sure is. Please crit. Perfect. Alright. Gets us up to 56. There's no point in getting her up off the ground just yet. We'll save that for right before her turn. In this case, we don't want her getting taken out again. In fact, we actually got to keep Evan safe here. Actually, his safest bet isn't to do that. His safest bet is actually to make sure that these archers don't attack. So, deal with that real quick, put you in the back row. What I'd like to do is ideally have Evan go take out that archer on the left. Okay, perfect. We've got Hector up front. We're not in any position to deal with a lot of his nonsense right now, however... Let's see. Alright, what we can do is distract. So at this point, yeah, at this point it's worth getting her up off the ground. I mean, you can see she's not even in the turn order yet, but that's fine. So Etzim's going to be one of our weaker units. So what we need to do is surround and isolate Hector. Sven's in a good position here to make sure that we're not harassed by these guys, if possible. Actually, let me double check one thing. Are you... Yeah, he's able to act, so he can deal with the wizard. You're going to deal with the healer. Now, we don't have our 100 TP yet, so it's not worth putting the breach on Hector just yet. We only have one of those. So it's better to get control of the rest of the situation first. Alright, there we go. We got those two stunned and dealt with. And then we should be able to put a full heal on you. Okay, he's a 90. We need to re-up strengthen and drop the breach, and that should be the win. Okay, didn't stumble. Not good, but it's not a kill. Good, and we've got a second finisher ready to go. Etzim takes the kill like she's supposed to. Wasted a lot of damage on them right there. Please don't take out the one with a finisher. And good. Oh, we've actually got a couple finishers lined up. Alright. So in that case, one quick thing here. If we were to use this right here. Yeah, 0% chance to actually hit with that. Right, he's just gonna sit still because I want him to not waste any actions right now. You're gonna go right here. You're gonna drop the breach on him. They should have no options for removing this for now. We've got one finisher that should go on the caster. We've got another to give him a strengthen, ideally. Let's get Sven Lady all topped off here. Alright, is he gonna go for a finisher? Unlikely. However, to improve odds, we're going to go ahead and put this lady right in between Hector and this Berserker here to make sure that that our 100 TP unit isn't risking any hits. Unfortunately, that revive didn't misdirect damage as I was hoping it would. Alright, that's dangerous. Alright, they still got the kill. Breach is still in play here. Right, Lion Dance this mess. Their healer never bothered to actually get rid of his silence, so we don't have to worry about him recovering. Out of curiosity, what's his spell defense looking like? Okay, trickle damage is possible. Alright, you sit there. Alright, you get Veil topped off just as a backup strategy here. Alright, this is going to be very slightly short of actually killing him. Sorry, just verifying trajectory real quick. Love how it would be quadruple overkill on one of our own units. Okay, so that put him down to about 20 health. Alright, Cheese Stick here. Coming in with a Dark Weight, and... oh, that's exactly 26, that's not ideal. Well, shoot. What about Sanctus? So that... yeah, Death Whale would be just enough. This should be 27. All that extra stuff, and it would only accomplish two higher damage. There we go. That's the win. I think this is when we get access to a whole lot of extra stuff. We'll see. Hopefully this is the moment. Because unfortunately, until we capture the next castle, we still can't do anything in terms of those extra skills here. Alright, don't hit the wrong button. Recruit Yunin. Alright, so he sacrificed the castle to us. But yeah, they can't be our enemies, so Yunin now joins us. Would you like to join us to immediately die, sir? Okay, so Spears 2, useless to us. Dragon and Beast Slayer are going to be crucial for later. Draconology also going to be crucial for later. Anatomy. Anatomy, counterattack 2. Mr. Yunin coming in here to save this run. Alright. So basically, with that minor update right there, just the fact that we can get Anatomy, we're going to go to Tynemouth, we're going to let Yunin die, and then, congratulations sir, thank you for joining us, we are going to cannibalize you. But yeah, so at this point, he dies so that our other skills can live. So yeah, counter hit, not super useful on him right now. Let's just go get rid of a few of these guys. Anyway, so counterattack will be very handy later, especially if you're training up Anatomy. Probably to train it up, I'm just gonna put Denim solo onto a map and just let him dagger everything. We'll see. Probably just gonna swap them all out for short bows in a little bit here, actually. It's kind of sad, Yunin going through his whole character arc and whatever else. Doesn't get to do that this time. Come to think of it, did we ever save Ravenous? Because I think we need Yunin to save Ravenous. Do we? Hang on, let me double check that. Let me make sure we don't need him for the next fight before we murder him. Actually, wait, is she dead already? I suppose that's worth checking. Alright, let's kill him off at least once. And then find out if we actually need him. Because, one way or another, we are eating those skills. So, like, he's not long for this world. The fact that we get Anatomy at this point is too good. It is too strong. So, all deals will deal. And have this internal annoyance every time a bag drops instead of a card on this particular map. By the way, somebody was doubting this last time, so just just to show you a kind of funny thing here. So whenever you're hit by something, you typically get, I think you get like a third of the normal XP or something like that. But in this case, it actually rolls for a sort of range of XP. But it'll always split it between different skills that are there. So in this particular case, they got Anatomy, but they didn't get anything for Spears. But technically, it would have had a chance to go for either of them. So for Spears, it probably rolled something like 0.005 or something. You get some weird stuff as far as that goes, but I just find it funny that is a thing that can happen. Stop dropping bags. Yeah, a lot of the auto grind for this one consisted of just setting it on fast forward. Or, I mean, by the end of it, not even fast forward. I'd literally just sit it there, and then just pause it whenever I saw a card pop up, put the nearest unit onto that card. If it was something like a strength or a dex card, immediately put denim on that mess. A little bit tedious, but, you know, weird run's gonna have weird results, so such is life. Yeah, I remember for Ravenous you gotta get at least the what line. Say participate in Valmusa Massacre. It's Ravenous Excellent captured. After taking Brigantis in Chapter 3, recruit Yunin. I forget if we actually saved her or not. She might be already dead. Yeah, bring Yunin to the Bahana fight, get the enemy leader, a verbal, below 70% to trigger a conversation. Says, I'm sure that by now Sabriam joins them. You can go verbal. After taking Crit Annihilator on the chapter, return to Bahana to encounter Ravenous again. Keep her alive, the sun should finally join you. Okay. So, I guess we need him for stuff, but only one more time. So, we'll see. We'll see if we really need him. You wanna drop a card? Nope. Rude, 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 but that's why we needed 4,000 kills to get one character leveled up. There we go. Oh, I guess we didn't kill a Yunin so good, did we? Well, let's see if Ravenous is alive first of all. Yes, dude's missing. We would have to read that part. Oh, yeah, she's slightly too dead to join us. Oh well. There we go, do the usual of skipping through everybody, and I actually did mean to check on one guy here. Weird. Why does that one Terror Knight guy not actually get an entry? I mean, it's Yallo. He gets an entry. He's all shiny, I know, but still. He's just the red Gyarados, the red Gyarados of the Galveston here. Alright, well. Alright. Let's go back to murdering Yunin then. So and then as soon as he dies off, then we'll just call it for the day. Because I do have to get going pretty soon here. Actually, I probably should have taken his armor away too. Surprisingly, despite the armor being kind of terrible, he actually has a pretty okay amount of resistance right now. Like, honestly, the difference between naked and leather is a lot more than you'd expect. Which, funny note, by the way, on that whole back and forth over whether leather did anything and whether it existed and whatever else, as per usual, there's been a bunch of tests recently from Todd's Workshop, So they're these guys that do a bunch of historical tests and whatever else to see like what works in what ways under what circumstances. And they always have some really interesting ones. Like, for example, there was one that was apparently some random account from some war or some such from a few decades ago, wherein they were saying that at some point somebody found out during a fight that while bullets didn't go through sandbags, arrows did. Why they had a bow lying around is anyone's guess, but whatever. So they were testing that, and sure enough, yeah, the arrows go through sandbags. Who'd have thunk it? So apparently that's a thing. But at any rate, one of the ones they did was over different types of leather and whether they can really do anything. And apparently there's more stuff coming up, but surprisingly hardened, like properly hardened leather and stuff like that actually could stop arrows, weirdly enough. Not consistently by any means, but enough to make them non-fatal at any rate. So, who knows? I mean, obviously, from all intents and purposes, it doesn't seem like it was used too much. Like, apparently they have old inventory records and stuff like that. So apparently it was occasionally used as, like, plates added on top of other things for side protection or whatever else. It wasn't the ideal or anything, just due to annoyance of being made. But if, for example, somebody was making their, just kind of making their own armor set kind of situation, and, like, let's say they were a farmer and went off to go do whatever else, presumably. Maybe they had a cow and the cow died, and they're like, I'm gonna make some armor out of this, and so then they went and boiled it and whatever else. Surprisingly, it can somewhat work. I mean, not very long from what was tested there. Like, from what they said, it took like I think they said 3 layers. It took 3 layers of fully hardened leather plates to actually stop an arrow. But I mean, it's not unbelievable. You can see somebody just making a breastplate out of that or something. I mean, other stuff it stopped way better, but still, it's kind of a fun little side note there. Alright, Yunan, are you done dying yet? A little bit of a funny thing here, though. Lately, been looking more at FFT because I keep giving like little sideways glances over to the Word Lions port on an iPad, because I had to go get an iPad for work, and just keep looking at it like I don't know. There's a lot of times during meetings that there's nothing better to do but sit and play some FTL. Then keep thinking about the complete and utter jank of Word Lions on the PSP. It's like for anyone that doesn't remember, maybe has much fonder memories of the PSP port, go back and replay it. just give it a little bit of a look. And actually, come to think of it, Mr. Cow, if you still happen to be here, I should probably update this chip of yours here to have the anti-jank cheat on there, because I was testing it recently. I assumed it was on the default list, and I'd gone through it recently, and it kind of wasn't. So yeah, come to think of it, it's probably a good thing that... Yeah, weird thing, by the way. Post office stuff. Recently, obviously, in the States here, we've been going through a lot of weird stuff as far as the post office goes. Not to get too much into politics, but let's just say the folks in charge think they will continuously stay in charge if they kill the post office, is the main takeaway. It's like, with the virus and everything else, they think more people voting would essentially make them lose and whatever else, because, let's be honest, they're super unpopular right now due to stuff breaking in half. So, yeah, like, the janky part is, there's mail that's just going missing and or not getting delivered all over the place. Like, as far as one of our little online shops, we've had 4 packages go missing now. And recently I ended up getting back one thing that I sent out 2 months ago that just came back with a notice that said that they don't even know if they tried to deliver it, which I've never even seen that happen. But yeah, apparently that's a thing that can happen. Let's see, what's the exact message here? It says, attempted, not known. What is that even? But at any rate, it's pretty annoying. It seems to be affecting people all over the place. Thankfully, on our end, nobody has to get any medicine or whatever, but a lot of folks I've heard of that that kind of needed their medicine in the mail and stuff like that are pretty well and truly screwed right now. Any dang ways. Takeaway being, yeah, I've never seen that kind of notice on a box before. I'm just like, we don't actually know if we tried to deliver it, but we brought it all the way over there and then brought it back. We're going out of our way to just not do anything right now. So that's annoying. I mean, like, I don't know how it is in other countries and all that. The whole deal with the post office, it's literally been there from the start. It's in all the founding documents and whatever, because at the time it was viewed as, like, a functional post office is the only way to make society work. And, yeah, now they're... Like, there's a whole bunch of political BS behind it, but they're generally trying to paint it as, like, oh man, they're just over here being non-profitable, and it's literally in their paperwork, or in their stuff that they're not allowed to be profitable. Not to mention, this is the second time they're trying to do this kind of thing, so... Like for example, years ago they were forced to, they had some really bizarre restriction placed on them where, like, they have to pay all their pensions for every employee or something ahead of time. Like, decades ahead of time, to the point where most of their actual budget is just kind of sitting around doing nothing, and that's just what they're legally supposed to do. So, it's messed up. It just sucks to see something so cool just kind of sitting there getting beaten like a sandbag for several months now. There's a bunch of folks were saying, like, oh, you know, nothing will happen to it, they can't do anything to it, it's a post office, everybody likes it, who hates the post office? Like, no. They're trying to friggin' old Yeller the thing, and it sucks. Like, I mean, it's been a thing since forever. And it's such a stupid reason for it to die now. It sucks. Like, I know random public works stuff isn't the most exciting thing, but I'm sure I'm not the only one who just always really respected that kind of stuff. Where it's like, here's a simple thing, everybody can use it, it all works, this is a sign of society going well. You know, it's a nice, happy thing, nothing's gonna happen to it. Nobody's gonna try to blow this up for no reason. Yeah. And then 2020 happened. I mean, I suppose before that 2016 happened, and that's... So, hopefully everybody else's worldwide situation is going a little better. Certainly can't call it ultra ideal over here. It's actually kind of interesting. So we have this this app over here called Indeed. I don't know if it's worldwide or not, but basically it's just a little thing. It's like a local job search kind of thing for whenever anything pops up anywhere. So it's become fairly standard in a lot of places. So I had signed up for this thing months ago when my first job went under. Had previously used it to sign up for other jobs before that, and you know, a pretty handy thing to know. But I've still kept it on my phone all this time, and you just see new stuff popping up constantly because they can't actually staff stuff right now. Because it's a weird mix of weirdly specific jobs not being able to actually keep people there, while most of the other stuff is having a hard time actually even staying open. So it's odd times. Odd times for sure. All I know is I definitely do not want to be walking back into retail right now, because right as I was kind of back and forth over which job I can technically do at any given time right now, and then I end up hearing a story over one of my coworkers having a gun pulled on them the other day. I'm like, yeah, alright. I think this other one sounds better. Pays about 18 times more and does not involve potentially getting shot, so that's nice. Let's just say people are a little bit wound up, just slightly. Alright, so we only have 2 more times for unit to fall here before we get those nice juicy stats. Those juicy numbers. But yeah, at that point, once we get access to anatomy, I'm probably just gonna leave Denim. I'm just gonna see if he can solo a map at level 1 at that point. Like, you might be thinking it's such a basic skill, why would that make such a big difference? But just that rank 2 anatomy by itself is an extra 8 attack for him, plus an extra 8 defense versus everything. So functionally speaking, he's got, well, he's got more than the equivalent of getting both the attack and defense ratings at the same time, added on top of his already crazy stats. So he's gonna go talk about his retreat, goody goody, and snipe. Why am I leveling up steel on everybody? I'll be honest, there's no good reason for that. I mean, none of these guys are likely to ever hit rank 2, so what can you do? Shame about that last dropping card. It's gonna bug me to no end. And now Mr. Union gets killed off. But yeah, this all wound up tying up really nicely into the no generics part of the challenge. Just because, yeah, all the non-generics end up needing to be killed off to salvage their stats or salvage their skills anyway. Just because, for anyone kind of unfamiliar with the run, there is no way for a level 1 to learn most of the skills. All they can learn are weapon skills and trajectory and field alch 1 for certain classes. Oh, and steel. There's, well, and a couple of recruit skills, which we'll get to down the line. So, like, for example, we picked up Mega Smarks in order to be able to use Golemy. Later on, we'll be picking up Necromancers to be able to, or not Golemy, but Control Golem. Later on, we'll be picking up Necromancers in order to be able to use Turn Undead, or Control Undead. Or is it Master Undead in this one? I think it's Master Undead in this one. So, either way, we've got a very roundabout way of doing things, because... Okay, so we get golems in order to get strengthen, anatomy, and counter for everybody. Potentially fortify, depending on how stuff goes. We then later get necromancers from Palace of the Dead. There is a way to get a necromancer sooner, but I don't believe you can get his marks for anything other than stealing, which is why I ranked up stealing for Mr. Gordon here. I'd ideally like to see it at rank 4 or so, but we'll get there when we get there. Because I think rank 4 is the breakpoint for a lot of different stuff. I know it's at the very least the breakpoint for getting the Reaver Ring, which we can't even use, so blah. Anywho, so that all said, what was I getting at here? So yeah, all that stuff said, we get Master Undead in order to get access to better tier strengthens and anatomies and whatever else. Anatomy will be maxed out as soon as we can get it on anybody. I'm just going to have them sit there and auto-grind until they get that mess up to rank 8. That'll be a massive leap in power. Once we get strengthened, that'll end up scaling that up even harder. Once we get an augment, that will essentially allow for switching over to Brimstone Hail in some situations, or even more punch. But yeah, eventually we'll hopefully be able to get access to augment ice as well, or I forget if it's ice or water. I think it's ice for the crossbow, or not the crossbow, but for the blowgun. So that can scale up pretty nicely as well. Actually, no, that one's all accuracy. Though that said, if I recall, it does scale very well, so I'm not sure. That'll be a TBD on that one. I mean, any skill that I have with a rank will get grinded to rank 8, pretty much with exception to steel, because it's only useful in a couple of cases. So that's only going to go as high as it needs to go, because it's kind of useless otherwise. It gives a bunch of crafting materials, but we're not really using those for anything. Anyway, so with all of that done, later on down the line, we'll also be putting together an army of Angel Knights so that everybody can fly, and so that we can also recruit fairies for Augment Light. Because everything up to that point does not have any opportunity to actually come with Augment Light. Fairies, I believe, are the only ones that can, and only under certain circumstances, so yeah, at that point we'll have access to that. Which I believe that actually gives us access to Deflect in some cases, but I'm not certain. Like, I think Parry and Deflect will end up getting off of Skeletons at some point. But again, that remains to be seen. We'll see how it all goes. It is a very TBD type situation. I'm gonna have all these guys run up and try to rob this guy of his Howl or Blessing Stones, just save us a little bit of money. Not that it's really too much of a concern, but hey, what can you do, right? Sometimes you just gotta go into an open field and rob a priest several times while you wait for a guy to decay out in the background so that you can cannibalize him. This is just tactics over problems. Alright. Almost there. Such a life of shame I've led. Well, I mean, there you go. I guess we don't need that Howling Stone after all. How would you like to explode, good sir? Boom. It's overkill, but it looks cool. That is one thing. It's one of those very tiny changes that would be made out of necessity and for a whole bunch of better effects. But the map tile effects were taken out, which honestly it's fine. But okay, so scavenge. Do you want to learn the scavenge skills? Yes. Julian's booty will be lost. Oh no! And his skills that were higher than the units I've been training, which is just kind of depressing. Right. Give me that anatomy. Get anatomy. Trajectory is still going to be useful, but I want Draconology at some point. He's still training Hammer, so I'll leave that on here. Daggers are pretty unlikely, so we'll replace that with Fortify. Fists he's pretty unlikely to run into, so we'll replace that with Counterattack. And then we'll replace the Blowgun with a Dagger. Actually, for that matter, since we're training Anatomy and not really going for speed or kills or anything, let's do this. So that's our first unit with counter. Let's see how we do. Can Denim solo a map at level 1 at this point? Because I think he can. Are you sure you want to use this party? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And then as soon as we regain access to the Sluis, we'll be able to do something with that. So he now does 120 damage with a blowgun without any buffs on him. This is rank 2. This is rank 2. It's not going to make any difference when it comes to the lizards, aside from his defense. Just for yeah, whatever. We'll leave that as is. Fun times, fun times. Yeah, the river map would be a lot better, because it doesn't really spawn as many lizards as it does Hawkmen and people. So he'd just be training Anatomy twice as fast. To give you an idea of the count of skill drops we're looking at here. One basic attack with Anatomy does 0.1%. It ain't great. So you need to attack over 100 times. Actually, you need to attack about 1,000 times in order to get that ranked up. However, because he's got something like this, he's... well, I guess it's not really going to help much first lizards, is it? Doesn't matter, he still does apparently 70 damage with a basic dagger. Again, he is out-leveled right now. He's out-leveled, his dodge rate versus people is increased as well. His crit rate is pretty dang high because of that blowgun. I think it's safe to say that we're doing pretty okay so far. Alrighty, this is even without his dagger skill too, so... fun. Pew. Those little pew-pew lasers. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Tiny little blowgun just completely dominating stuff. So yeah, I think we're gonna take this to the rubber map. I'm just gonna set it to AI after a certain point. It seems like he's in no threat whatsoever here. Probably give him his dagger skill to improve his odds a little bit. But yeah, for the most part, I don't really see anything that's much of a threat here. I mean, with his dagger skill, he should be insane here. Now, when it comes to everything, I believe when casting, anatomy is still applied as an offensive bonus, if I recall correctly. I don't know if that applies to books or not. I would assume that's a solid who friggin' knows, but I think he was pretty close to rank 3 on that, wasn't he? Yeah, 92.4. It takes forever to get that ranked up. Absolutely forever. I just imagine this guy walking along a field, just shoots a little pea out of a blowgun, decapitates somebody. I love the weirdness of this series. Alright, so for one thing, get your dagger skill back on. What do you not need here? I think it's safe to say you don't need trajectory for the time being. Make sure to save that mess. Alright, and let's see if... So this is just going to be an experiment. We'll see if the AI by itself can win Golborza. I'm just going to get up and walk away real quick, set him to AI, see if he can solo it. There's no real sense in having anybody else there to back him up unless they really need to. Doing something solo is generally going to be the best way of training it up anyway. So, okay. Like, originally I was considering just doing this level 1 solo, just have the entire run be that way, but defense kind of made that a little bit unlikely. And yeah, unlike something like FFT, being a higher level doesn't really give you any kind of speed bonus. So yeah, recovery time is a set thing based off different things. If anything, leveling up oftentimes slows you down. Alright, so let's set this guy to Vanguard. I should be able to heal himself, and I will be right back.
Wow, okay, that went better than expected. Didn't even have time to go run to the bathroom while this guy soloed a map. Alright. How well did that go? How much experience did we actually get out of that? Yeah, that's probably... Wow. A whole 2% experience. This is gonna take a while. Alright, anyway, so... I'm just gonna go ahead and save it then. Probably just leave this running in the background for a while, and alright. So that'll be the next step. I gotta get that to rank 8, at which point we can... I mean, honestly, we probably can wrap up Chapter 3 right now if we really wanted, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get this ranked up for now. Leave him doing as he does. From there, we just go do the Vance fight, do one more castle, go through the swamp, retake Almorica yet again, and then at that point, that's the end of Chapter 3. Actually, I believe we have one more Heim fight. Yeah, I'm fairly certain we have one more Heim fight at that point. And then, yeah, that's the end of Chapter 3. We get access to as many Magus Marks as we need. I guess all things considered... Wait, did I remember to go check the store? I don't think I did. Yeah, it's kind of... this is gonna be fun to watch. This is just plain fun to watch. The man cannot stop. That's so brutal. Oh, please just let me go the entire time untouched. I mean, oh shoot. Well, goodbye, Vita. I guess you're just on the floor playing yourself now. Man, I don't even know if we'll need parry by the end of this, to be honest. It almost doesn't seem worth it to get parry, but we'll see. Hell, like, deflect at this point I would say doesn't make sense to get, because we're going to be keeping everybody with rank 8 bows, so we're automatically, like, deflect, or ranked up bows plus fortify basically means bows aren't going to be doing damage, so that's just not even a thing to worry about. It's leaden that would be the main issue out of that, and eventually that won't be as much of an issue. Well, actually, it already isn't much of an issue, because we don't move around much, and we already can't evade Worth Jack anyway, so who cares? Like, normally it would be kind of a debilitating debuff, but when you're already on that 24/7, it doesn't matter. Alright, so what's he gonna do here? Is he gonna attack, or is he gonna heal? Oh, he's gonna go for the attack, alright. Probably would have gone for the heal personally, but whatever works for you, AI. Ooh. No, time to turn off that AI, because... Oh, you dick! You took my card. Also, it's weird. I don't know if anyone else noticed that, but the AI, or not the AI, but the card had a really weird texture there for some reason. Well, so much for getting that card. The dude killed himself. Okay. Well then. Absolutely well then. Let's go check the store. Make sure that there's nothing that was missed, because I don't think there was anything that was missed. Because I believe I already did check that. Let's see, anatomy... 2.2. Yeah, no, this is gonna... It's gonna take a hot minute. Yeah, I think part of it is just every encounter is taking away part of that experience. Anyway, yeah, there's not anything new here. Alright, oh well, so I'll see you guys next time then. I gotta get going to work, and y'all take care. Hopefully next time we can get very close to Chapter 4. Because yeah, it's a pretty quick route from here. Alright,